G'dowdy everyone and welcome back to 2023 Summer LCK Challenger Playoffs. I'm Altus. I used to be Valdez. I have now become Altus, and this is Chronicler, formerly known as Wolf, as best of fives are a task that requires a singular duo in order to make it good. How are you guys? You guys doing good? Are you guys ready for a sweet best of five between DRX and KT?
A KT that, if you hadn't been paying attention, got a surprise victory. Yes, do we think it's going to change today? Maybe. Who knows? I've learned not to really learn anything from challengers, just because of how every day is a miracle, and you never know what's going to happen. But it was really cool. You know, there was us casting as well, getting to witness KT challengers showcasing, you know, what they're capable of when they get every single champion that they could possibly dream of.
Yeah, it's sort of what happens when you throw a bunch of players that a team doesn't know against them. You then forget to ban things like Vi and Azir against Feisty and Humbug. And then Humbug actually looks like a pretty good player. When he's on a champion he can't run it down real hard on. It's actually very impressive.
I have seen Canyon play Vi, so I don't think the champion's the problem.
That is true.
I do agree with your Humbug assessment.
He benefits from
he
it
does
quite
absolutely.
a lot.
Yeah, he's definitely a Vi connoisseur, and I think it makes his, you know, Vi also is one of those champions where it's like Draven, where if your tendency is to go forward and you do this on like a champion where you're not supposed to, it looks really bad. But when you do it on Vi or Draven, it's like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yep, I can confirm it is the most banned champion against KT by a decent margin. But I think that DRX, they will be privy to how that one works. And I also think that some of the mental damage that had been previously done to Live Sandbox in that must-win series is probably not going to be there in DRX. But maybe they're going to be a little bit intimidated by a team that was able to hop onto the LCK stage and just kind of dominate. Looking pretty good while they did it. Let's jump into today's matchup. As you can see, Life Esports were successfully able to take down Gen.G. One of us predicted exactly how it was going to go. I won't mention who it was. Now, DRX to take on KT. That same predictor did say that it was going to be a 3-1 in favor of DRX. And we're not about spoilers here. We don't need to give it away. I'm a humble man.
No, you're not.
I was a bit of an Andy on this one. So I think like here in Challenger, I think like the best of threes that we have throughout the regular season, very likely to go to 3 games because there's way less pressure. I do think that in best of fives, it's a little more likely to go the other way because the mental pressure is on, and that first win in a series can give you a whole bunch of confidence.
You know, going back, so I'm thinking back to like some of the most memorable Challenger best of fives that we've done. It actually is just 3-0 or 3-2. And this might just be, you know, me remembering a specific. Maybe we can take a look at the spring bracket, for example. That could be illuminating. But I do remember like the DRX D+ series, for example. Obviously DK Nongshim last time around. DK Nongshim last year in spring. That series happened twice for some reason. Yeah. Or at D+ Nongshim. Today though, it's going to be DRX versus KT. KT obviously having their super sub moment yesterday. Not really going to change the assessment, I think, though, given that the form of DRX with Plata back on support and Duckers subbed in looks still.
You mean
very
MVP Duckers?
Yeah, I don't want to draw too much attention to that because
I have absolutely no idea why it happened.
No, I don't know.
But there we go. He got
He's
one
really good.
POG, and he is very good.
He's exceptional. That's not. Yeah, that's not the problem.
I'm surprised Karis didn't get it. If Docdom got it, I'm surprised Karis didn't get it. You know, subs in for 2 games.
Yeah,
I should just pick up MVP, I reckon.
I mean, everyone knows Karis doesn't need more credit because he's a believer. I didn't know Sponge was that tall. Never knew. So, Frog, Sponge, Satap, Docdom, Plata. This team is great. They've been going through a couple of different roster iterations. Previously it was Plata and Piero. Now Docdom came in and Plata was like, you know what, I'm good enough. I'll just go back to support. That's completely fine. No problem at all. He's done very well. Satap is It's really hard because mid is really stacked. I think that Poolbay definitely has dropped a little bit. Between Feisty, Satep, and Call Me, like the mid lane is...
And Romo.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that I'm forgetting Romo says a lot, right?
Yeah.
Super stacked. Every mid that we still have in the tournament is definitely exciting. For me, though, some of the highs that Satep has had really are only rivaled by Poolbay. But I do think he's a lot more consistent. Poolbay obviously has had his fair shares of ups and downs throughout the split. And I think Satep has just been great.
Yeah, I also think Saint was pretty good as well.
He was.
But yeah, Satep has really been a standout in the mid lane. I actually feel like DRX have just looked pretty solid as a whole.
Yeah.
KT at their best, though, are a very scary team to go up against. We know, like, we've seen so many highs from this squad. Yeah, we've seen the lows. We've seen plenty of them this season as well. But I think that they can, as we saw yesterday, right? Like, they can take series off anyone you put in front of them. And I think a lot of it will come down to comfort in the draft and how these players are performing on the day. And we're going to welcome them here now. Perfect, Humbug, Feisty, Hype, and Way. The same roster that you saw take to the stage after Keen, Cuz, PDD, Aiming, and Lehens.
No, I'm just like, do we bow? Ah, there we go. They tried like 3 bows.
What just happened?
They tried like 3 bows and
it's the same as regular season.
I mean, they do like the walk-ins are a little bit more ceremonial, you know. But the fact that they're like no, and then but when they do it,
pretty sure it's exactly the same.
I mean, it might be. And then Hype is just like, wait, what? What's happening? What's going on?
I think they're too focused on the League of Legends. They have lost control of most of their bodies. It's their hands that have all of the coordination here today. As Feisty, look at how quickly he got that headset on. They are ready to go.
An intense dude.
He is a very intense dude. I had something very weird said to me this morning. When I arrived, journalist Kenzie came up to me and he said, "Do you think Humbug looks like Summit?" And I said no, pretty flat out. And now that I've seen Humbug again, I also think
need
it's
to give
a big
that.
no.
I don't see it.
Anyone in chat? Can anyone in chat see it?
I don't see it.
If anyone in chat can see it, you just let me know, because it was lost on me. This is going to be the mid matchup, Satep versus Feisty. This is a big one. As you can see, DPM actually kind of through the roof here for Satep, even though the KDA may not necessarily be as high. KDA tells you next to nothing about how good a player is, and DPM tells you a little bit more, I guess you could say. Also tells you a bit about the champion pool and the amount that the team relies on this player popping off.
Well, we did see that, and I assume this is like it's both 2-1s for DRX, based on this graphic, because it's a little unclear, because one is on the side of Feisty, but I guess it still is, you know, side of DRX. As we take a look, 4th versus 5th, I do think the consistency of DRX definitely something that shown through, which is interesting, because they used to be a very up and down type of team. Hasn't really been the case as much of recently, and if I remember correctly, they've not. My favorite's
Herpger. What about Dre at 15?
So DRX have an average.
Dre at 15, or would you say you're more of a Dre at 25 kind of guy?
I'm a Drake at 25 kind of guy. You know, you just come in, you blast some controller, you blast some of the classics.
I think I just need about 25 minutes before I'm ready for Dre. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm talking about Drake.
Oh.
Yeah. No, Dre. I mean, I didn't forget about...
I need more time for Drake. Way more time
I didn't forget about Dre. Don't get me wrong. I definitely need more than 15 minutes.
A he RPG. That is I mean, it's either of them that is absolutely fine. Forget about Dre. That really did my head in. I had something that I wanted to say, and now I've completely forgotten. It has just gone 100% over my head.
So important to note is that a lot of these stats were before DocDam came in. After DocDam came in, this team has been definitely a bit different, as we do have right here all our predictions. I'm a free tour. I think this one might go all the way. Some free ones as well, and one brave KT voter. Shy's like, no.
No, Shy must know something. Oh, maybe he's a frog anti. Maybe that's what it is.
Be a frog anti?
Well, I mean, Shy is a top laner, and we've met Huni before, and the entire, like, every series ever is based on the top lane. And that's how it's supposed to go. So this is Frog versus
so he's
Perfect,
like,
and he's like, Perfect easily
wins.
claps him.
Yeah,
That's what he's saying.
Perfect does it. Wolf
We've
is
got some 3-2s.
spinning.
I would actually flip-flop if given the opportunity. I would go 3-0 for DRX.
Yeah, 3-0. I'm kind of with you in that it will 100% be a 3-0 or a 3-2.
Yep.
I don't think there's an in-between.
I can see that, I guess.
We're either going completely bananas or, you know, team goes boom,
Yep.
game's done.
Yundo is going with a DRX 3-1. That is an out-there prediction. Nobody else had that one, so actually kind of crazy. Atlas, you aren't the cringe duo, so it's 5 games. I, as it turns out, am not actually a duo. I am a singular. I know it might seem that I have the intellect of 2. Or the split personality of 2, but I am just 1.
Just so you know how it goes backstage, I was sitting in the makeup chair, you know, ready to have a great day with Atlas, and he comes and was like, "Congratulations, you know, you got the 3-0 prediction right for the first series of the day." And he's like, "Yeah, you're welcome. Someone has to do the analytical work today." Absolutely perfect.
I'm very humble. I'm just a very humble guy. You guys,
So-
like, if there was ever a chance to like go into a competition about who's the most humble, I would win 100%. Like,
There's
hands
actually,
down.
so I used to be a bit overconfident in my youth, and my parents played a song by this comedian that literally is a song saying, "I'm so humble," like in Dutch, obviously.
Yeah,
I'm the most humble guy you'll ever meet. Like, I am amazing.
I remember having a conversation
Azir
with... Kaiser is being picked up, and Azir will be locked in. And then it probably is just Azir Vi here for KT. Unless it's like... No, it's Azir Vi, and then they pick Zeri on 3, and then we see exactly the same comp. Maybe that's just how it goes. But to go back to my other story, I had a friend of mine and I had a conversation about trying to prove who's the most modest. And how do you do that? How do you, like, tell someone else that you're really modest?
It's the guy that other people have to call out that you're modest.
No, exactly.
You can't do it yourself.
So we came up with the fact that you need a Madecradary, which is someone that follows you around talking about how good you are so that you can say, "Oh no, I'm not." And so you actually need like an extra, but would you like to be my Madecradary? You just have to say truthfully nice things all the time, and I just need to be humble about it. What do you reckon? You interested?
I mean, that just sounds like what I kind of what I do on a daily basis. I don't think there'd be any large difference, but I'm
LCK Global.
I'm down.
LCK CL Global 2024 said that they're keen to do it. All right.
Well, then you got 2.
I've got
I guess.
2. Oh man, this is gonna be the best.
So we have to take a short look at the draft here. DRX have picked up the Kaiser Rakan, obviously not the best in lane, but extremely strong outside of it. I love Rakan Nocturne as well for getting the multi-angles. Also, the Kaiser Nocturne has just been amazing. I do think that when you look at the early 2v2, depending on what the mid matchup will be, with more bans going the way of Satap, could be some trouble here. Because you can't really go Xerath here, which actually we saw work out today as well, which is really interesting. And Poppy Azir is one of the few pairings that turns Azir into a threat, because you can swoop someone and then you can smash him into the wall.
Yeah,
and then life is good.
You can provide an extra wall there as well. So Alistair is going to be left up and available. That is going to be a little bit more CC, I guess, in the team fight. It's not really engage, which KT don't really need, because they can set up around objectives. They can force themselves into objectives as well with the Poppycopter. It can work out very well there. The Shuriman duo, though, going to come through here, denying Frog his 17th Renekton game.
Oh,
sorry, no, his 19th Renekton game.
So it's going to be Cassandra. What is it going to be in mid? I wouldn't hate Yone.
Yeah, Lissandra would be fine.
I mean, the problem is that picking Yone into Poppy is a real feels bad, man. Also, Xayah has a lot of innate safety, so we'll see what Satap actually ends up going here. And Wolf, there is a place in Sangsu called Awesome Donut, and the donuts are indeed awesome.
There you go. So and the Xerath is coming in.
It is actually coming in here. So the buffs have been enough. We've seen this pick be better and better in the 1v1. The main issue is just how it plays out in practice, right? That really has been, I think, the big kicker. As we might have a
like,
is it Well, no, because it'd be support, right? Like, is it Poppy support or Maokai support? We're not quite sure yet. Looks like Alistair is going to be the way. I would have personally really loved the Maokai. I think Maokai into Rakan is really good. And now DRX have a composition that, you know what? Everyone goes in and Xerath stands from a distance and presses his R button. I could see it. I think
it makes
works.
you less flankable if no one can see.
Yeah.
That is definitely good.
Well, they also can't dodge. They can't dodge your ult.
to dodge.
Yeah, you can, but like it's not gonna feel good.
No. It's an interesting composition here from DRX. Kind of an adaptation from the Ahri Nocturnes that we've seen, and of course, everyone kind of knows that you need to ban away the Ahri if the Nocturne is locked in. But Charm works very similarly to the Stunning Orb that Xerath does have available to him, and you lane very effectively into Azir. We've this matchup is as old as anyone who's 8. It started 8 years ago.
Very, yeah. It's definitely definitely classic. The main issue I have with the DRX comp is it does feel like they're lacking some early to mid game pressure, right? If you look at the setups, like Nocturne Cassante, not really going to make you excited. Nocturne Xerath, same. If this composition can get out of the laning phase and get to like actual 5v5s or 3v3s once the ultimates for the mid jungle duo are available, really strong. But I also would have loved the side laning threat. I think the problem with Cassante is that if he gets ahead, you don't really get as much mileage out of your side lane like assistants in Kai'Sa and Nocturne. So you are going to be forced to teamfight. And the KD composition, like we've seen this a million times, know exactly what it does. Teamfights extremely well, great front to back, great peel back. And the only issue they might run into is if they fall behind and the poke from Xerath and Kai'Sa starts to take over, they could be running into some trouble.
I think so too. I think that Xerath has proven to be quite a difficult champion to not die on repeatedly. We haven't seen very many be too successful. A little bit earlier on today, we did see a little bit more effectiveness, but not necessarily great. Let's have a look after some do-do-do-dos. Ooh, absolutely
nice.
Wonderful. We get to start off with a fantastic do-do-do-do. And now, we're into our second best of 5 of the day.
Sync.
Yeah, no, I was pretty proud of it. Sponge going for the blender. You like to see it. We have seen a lot of these poppies going towards the giant bell instead of the big old hammer or the lollipop. I'm not a huge fan of like the little Santa's helper poppy.
Doctam going for a futures market. Love that. We'll see what he's able to use it for. Kind of cool. Do hope this is the straight up poke Kai'Sa. Although you can argue that given that you do want to dive with your Nocturne and your Rakan, that there is some value, but I think that if you don't land enough poke, then playing into the KT comp straight up is going to be tough. Also, it's very telling that Feisty went Comet on Azir, something that we basically see exactly never. Just because you want to try, and if you do get an opening to trade with the Xerath, to at least get as much damage out as you can. Longer trades obviously not going to be feeling too good. And also gives you the ability to just go for small and very focused poke windows and not tank all his skill shots, which make you very unhappy and rapidly can create some issues, as we do see Humbug hasn't found success in the Poppy yet, but some of the champions for DRX kind of in the same vein.
Yeah, it's actually interesting that they do prioritize the Poppy over the Vi that we have seen him find a lot of success on. Even yesterday, as Satab trading quite nicely, but you can see Feisty able to give it back here as well. And we know that Feisty is extraordinarily comfortable on this Azir, so I expect that he's going to be able to lane just fine up against the Arcano pulses that will be coming down over and over. Perfect, having a good time on his Renekton here towards the top side of the map. It's to be expected, as Frog is just going to weather the storm as best he can.
Ooh,
oh, that ward only just going down.
I mean, they know. Because the jungle just got warded, right? They just walked in, so they should be knowing that Humbug right now is looking for a ganking window. Satab should position very defensively here, and you can see as well, even though Feisty is low.
Oh, there are some minions to come and get, but Humbug is moving towards that bottom side. Sponge on his Krug camp as Doctam and Pleta potentially gankable. As in they go. There's the flash pulverized. Doctarm in trouble. Immediately does cleanse. It's a good blade caller though. As the heroic charge comes down and Doctarm is dead. Hype grabbing first blood here in game number 1. KT off to a great start.
And even with the invade, Doctarm and Pleda not actually respecting the fact that Humbug could be behind him. Really nice pathing there from the KT jungler, but also have to give some criticism given that they were aware, bot side's still up. They know that at the very least Humbug will be towards that side of the map. And Humbug evades all vision, sets his bot side up very nicely. Well done by Wei here as well. Just gets the flash double knock up. And yeah, Doctarm plans a little bit early there. And even if he did, wouldn't have really mattered. I don't think you're getting out of it at that point. Sponge also not really providing too much because it's early game and he's Nocturne.
Yeah.
And in longer trades, you know, with Levo Tempo stacked and able to fight on Duskring, it's not going to be too bad, but into an early game Poppy, you're not going to really be feeling too hot.
Yep, Hype going to miss out on a cannon here towards the bottom side, so it's not all bad news here for DRX. The beginning of this game. And it's sort of feeling a bit like KT do have a bit of that confidence still remaining from yesterday. They played fantastic in that one game against Live Sandbox, and it looks like that has bled through. But it'll have to continue if they want to win this game, and it may take a while. KT have a composition that is a bit like a fine wine, you know? Does certainly get better with age, and DRX have a beautiful mid game that they can play around, so it is, they're not through it just yet.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what happens once 6 is hit, because it depends a lot on Sponge's ultimates and how they play out the first few fights. If they're able to actually leverage the power of Paranoia, get backline access, maybe take down Feisty or Hype right from the get-go, or alternatively get some poke. The problem with that is that Doctarm's poke just isn't going to be relevant in the early game. Like, you're going to be at the very least needing 2 items before Kai'Sa W actually starts being relevant. So a lot of it will come down to how much Satap can do when it comes to the setup. And it means that in the early fights, it's mostly about, can you isolate a target using Sponge's ultimate? And then we'll see if DRX is able to. Some LCK teams have really surprised us with how well they've played around the Nocturne in recent times. Feisty,
I think the Nocturne Kai'Sa thing that we've seen working out so well. I love it. It just means that you can have people in pretty precarious positions, but as long as Nocturne and Kai'Sa are relatively close by, you can close in, and it really does create almost like a really clean engage option, which is very, very strange. Like, you put someone out there, pretend that they're gankable or pickable, and then you all just collapse on top of them and turns things into, you know, 3v2s and things like that on a dime. Humbug moving back towards this mid lane right now, but the Xerath nowhere in sight. Another pulverize onto Pleta, but he can battle dance away. And everything will be all right there. The star-crossed lovers towards the bottom side with Pleta taking away Hype's boyfriend. Feels bad.
Sponge might be able to get the cancel on the back end, and we'll be able to. We'll be feeling nice about that one. Really big here is that Satap has actually been able to finish his chapter, but on the flip side, now that Feisty has his ultimate, Satap's positioning has got to be immaculate, because every single mistake is gonna, even if he flashes, he's not really safe or guaranteed that he will live, and if Humbug is in the area, then you really are under a lot of pressure, and it's one of the main issues that we've had with another example is, of course, the Victor matchup that we so aggressively dislike, because we've seen it picked a million times and it just never works. I think Xerath is definitely better than the Victor in this situation. We'll see how Satap pilots it, because there's just very little room for mistakes on this champion. Your positioning really needs to be so different from a lot of other picks as well, as we do have Pleta going in. Does have 6. It's very fun. He's the only one who's 6 in this bot lane. Satap.
Yeah, he's pushed up a little far here, as we do have the Q coming down. Feisty, is he going to be able to offer enough back? He flashes in advance to try and pick up the kill, but Sponge's going to flash over, makes it a 1-for-1. As the Fear is looking to come in. So no flashes now available for the mid laners, and you already iterated, that is worse news for the Xerath.
Yeah, definitely works out favorably there for KT, but Sponge getting a kill is still really big. Him starting off what I assume was Ultimate Hunter. It's basically always the runes that you pick. is quite nice. We'll see if they try and go for a collapse on Wei here. Might at least force an ultimate.
Yeah, he does have the Unbreakable Will available, but looks like he can just trample his way out.
Yeah, it would have been nice to force that, but not going to be in the cards for DRX, as they will trade Drake for Herald.
Yeah, and probably works out pretty well if KT wanted to get a little bit of extra money, if you can get some map control as well. Opening up mid lane, definitely very valuable with these mages that rely on outranging to the point where they can stand under their turret. It's hard to stand under a turret that doesn't exist, is sort of
you
my
can,
take.
But, you know, it's just not there anymore.
But are you really standing under it if it doesn't exist?
I guess only if you're a Azir, because you can just resummon
Oh,
the
you
turret.
can make a new one? That is
Yeah,
very
Stay
true.
Tap feels relatively safe because he has Nocturne on close proximity, but being that far up doesn't work out, and the Flash, unfortunately, not... If the Flash there is perfect and he's actually able to get away from the ultimate, they probably clean up that play, are able to trade 1 for 0, and everything goes well. Instead, as mentioned, will be relatively even. But we'll see. If Sponge is able to really further push that lead, it might end up working out somewhat for DRX, but right now, KT have an incredible kiteback comp, great scaling. They have a Herald that they're still sitting on and that they can throw down towards whichever lane they'd like. And they're going to be feeling good.
Yeah. It's also the first death for Xerath today. After
Nice.
the initial series. So
Nice.
there we go. A bit of fun trivia for
Might
everyone.
have a couple more of those in us.
I have a feeling that that may happen, but we saw that that can be a winning strategy. Good old Faker in the LCK, dying a whole bunch of times on the Xerath, still led to a win. So I could say, you know, like, it's similar to like Nogari's Jace, for example. Just tends to power up the more of those deaths they get in.
Nice.
That's the copium right there, guys, if you'd like to sample some.
Nogari Vladimir with Golden Coin
Oh,
and
God.
Klepto.
Good old Klepto Vlad.
I
Glorious
miss
situation.
Coin Klepto. As in we go.
Yeah, there's the paranoia. Emperor's Divide is going to push away the Nocturne, but Pleta dives over. A difficult time here for Feisty, who is going to get slowed down and then cut up. Pleta will pick up the kill there as Humbug wants to clear out vision and does so. Not going to be able to offer too much back for his mid laner. So just a clean pick here for DRX.
Little unfortunate though, they are forced to invest a flash from Plata, and I think it was his Ignite that actually picked up the kill there. So no gold going over the Satap or the Sponge, both of which would have been able to use it a whole lot better. We'll be able to get at least a plate here. Feisty should teleport back into the lane, so not going to miss out on too much of the wave. And we'll see if Doctom will get a cancel in. Wei is a nice support.
What a bro, yeah.
So it keeps him alive, as we do see Hambak. It's like, check, okay, they're fine. Things are not fine, as we do see. Plata not able to initially make his way over. Sponge doesn't quite get the spell shield, can actually spell shield the swoop, but doesn't end up happening. And we saw Hambak also channeling. Might also be why, you know, they just try to kill him as soon as possible and not make 100% certain that although they did actually slow down there at the end to try and give the Satap or Sponge, just didn't end up working out.
Yeah, bunch of extra gold going over to Humbug, but Feisty not being able to get in range to pick it up himself. We're going to be moving in here, though. The cow has been brought out of the paddock for the moment. Might be just back in here a little bit, because, of course, not going to be able to find too many angles here onto Satap, who does have his flashback right now. Wei gets pulverized in, but not too much else going to be gained. KT remain in the lead by about 1.5k or something like that, but it's looking like DRX are getting themselves in order, and that first paranoia landing and finding some effect is actually very, very good for this squad. Nocturne, very similar to Twisted Fate in that way.
Do see Satap going for the Liandry's as well. So more poke-oriented as opposed to trying to unload full burst onto the backline. Because you can basically go two schools of thought, right? You can either go for Liandry's and try more to go for individual Ws and Qs and leave it at that. Obviously, the ultimate will have a lot of value. And Liandry's is going to be really good against perfect Hambak and Wei. Or you go full I kill squishies. You can go like Luden, Shadow Flame, Soul Pan Boots and deal true damage. But I do think that build is a lot more inconsistent, because if you don't hit everything, then you end up doing very little.
I do like that you can. There's like basically 3 very viable builds.
It's really fun,
on the Azir. Always has been a champion that's had that. There's the flash out there from Satap. Feisty not going to invest his, just going to throw out the ultimate. We're out of the Arcane, still there for Satab, but does need a little bit of setup if he's going to make that one work. And so now, with no flash, there's a possibility for Feisty to try that again.
I was talking about Satab, by the way, but for Azir, it works exactly the same.
Oh, right, yeah, so I apologize.
No. But like, that's the funny part. The only thing that obviously Feisty could do is go for Nashor's builds, which you can't. As well, I guess you can as
Xerath. Of course
Hey, he has an auto attack passive, right?
Yeah.
How bad could it be? Very, very bad. Don't do it.
It's not good.
Don't try it.
I used to think that Ginsu's was the best
pressure R
item
button.
for Orianna when she first came out. What a time. As, yeah, right of the Arcane going to come in. Feisty, the DDR actually is enough, as he does shield himself up with the Shifting Sands and will be able to get himself out. Still back is going to stop, and that is going to be a whole wave. It is going to go begging underneath this turret, and Pleta getting aggressive towards KT. Is Drake already getting taken down relatively low. Humbug just standing his ground, and can he get rid of Sponge, or will this work
TP
out? Yeah, he actually steals it away. Now they're looking for Humbug, who's trying to taxi his way out. There's a steadfast presence as well as Arcano Pulse comes in, but it's not enough to grab the Poppy. That is a gorgeous little heist there from Humbug.
And DRX, they invest so much. There's Nocturne Ultimate, Frog TPing in, and KT is just like, we'll send in one Yordle with a plan.
Yeah, and do you know what that plan was?
Walk in.
It was walk in, run out.
Yeah. Phase Rush, baby. Is able to just smite it out like Sponge. Yeah, he doesn't get knocked back. And then crucially here, Pleta isn't actually able to get on top of Humbug because he is running so fast. Can't lock down the Poppy. Nimbus Cloak, Phase Rush, Flash will do that for you. And KT means that they won't be going into a big deficit when it comes to objectives. On the contrary, Second Herald going to be picked up for them as well.
They're going to be able to use that to possibly even break open that outer turret in mid lane as well. That's already down 50% from the previous Herald. We've spoken about this many times in the past, prioritizing these Heralds so that you can get control of mid. Once again, the right of the Arcane is, whoa, that was right and left of the Arcane. And Hype is going to survive. Leandri's not going to kill him.
27 health. And he had if he didn't have refillable, he would have actually just straight up died.
Pressy potions.
Even though Feisty's been doing well, we are seeing some of the issues that might present themselves for Xayah. Because I don't think Hype's going to have a very fun game. Once Doctam has a second item, and again, I truly hope he goes for Ludens, because then that's the one angle where I'm like, DRX can win mid to late as well, right? If they can land some of this crucial poke, and if they can deny the engages, that will be hard. I do think KT has a decent amount of ways to hard force fights, particularly if no flash is available for Satab, most notably.
Yeah. Still sitting at just 1,000 gold.
It's a pretty leisurely paced first game.
It is indeed. You can feel the intensity though, can you not?
Yes.
I also felt the intensity in my ban hammer, as someone said that DRX weren't that good in the chat. They said it in a different way. It was a little bit ruder. You know what? They're never chatting again.
Nice.
Ever in the history of Dota.
It's always nice. You have like, there's only two types of new chatters. Those that get the vibe, and you're immediately like, you're going to be a regular.
Yeah.
Or that come in here and are like toxic and like, no. And do that as you pointed out, the mid herald actually going down is
goodbye.
He was still channeling.
Yeah, Mr. Xerath just not allowed to join in that mid lane. Does guarantee Shirley's secondary charge, which is very, very nice. With Anadolia, you are indeed a regular. And Hype actually getting the practice of the previous DDR session and is going to survive with more than 20 health.
Yeah, and up until now, we haven't actually seen DRX be able to utilize these ults as in we go.
Speaking of ults, that is a Dominus in trade for a Paranoia and a Crocodile that is now just dead.
Really nicely done by Sponge. He flashed in front of Perfect to ensure that the Fear would either send him back, and even if Perfect flashes, the tether wouldn't break. So really nicely done to ensure that Pleta could follow up. Duggan could make his way over his Frog.
That's an all-out from Frog. Feisty's just dead. All right, sometimes just don't mess with the Frog Sante. Just don't do it.
Get the copy pasta in chat.
Yeah, we're gonna need that. We're gonna need that.
Although that's mostly on them for trying to dive Cassante. That's like there's a few champions where diving, when you're forced to make a cross map, just isn't really the way to go.
Yeah. And that definitely looked like a poor choice.
Yeah. So again, we have the setup here. Ult comes in with level 11 already there. Sponge actually has a large range. Flash comes in, and you see as well that like we're not even going to try and flash out of it, which I think was the right call as soon as Sponge invested his. And then we take another look here. You don't have that much damage between these two when it comes to Xante, right? Frog is able to get a really nice angle, and then there are no minions, so he just kind of dies.
Yeah.
Very straightforward.
It's it just looks too easy when Frog performs it like that. Thank you so much
Wait, that's the wrong copy pasta.
For a copy pasta in chat. That's what you need.
That's the faker Zeref one.
Global taunt of 3,000 range.
Again, this is the same experience as playing Xayah into Ziggs. This trick should be gone. Yeah, he just got ulted.
Goodbye. Now gonna have to go home. Hype really struggling when it comes to the anti-Zereth tech.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of like, what do you do?
I mean, it is also like the bane of Xayah's existence just in general, right? Like anything with long range.
That's why Ziggs is so good in Xayah.
Yeah.
It's the same reason, but more obnoxious because you can dodge one Ziggs ultimate, probably.
What
Zeref
about a
has
billion
lot of
bouncy bombs?
Yeah, not. Oh, I mean, I think the bouncy bombs are a little bit more doable when you have boots. I think Zeref in particular, like the hitbox is so big, and it's not a good time.
Erky Tempers has also decided that I'm Teemo, which is also not a good time, I would say.
I could see it.
I got the the Riot figurine of the injured Teemo.
Yeah.
I really like that figurine. One of my favorites. It's Teemo with a black eye.
It's so funny. Remember when Teemo used to be like the poster child of League of Legends champions you hate?
Yeah, he still is.
He definitely isn't.
He's the poster child, but like he's not the most hated, I don't think.
I don't think.
Not in
I don't actually think people hate him at all anymore.
Really?
No, I don't think most people. I mean, outside of Arena, how many people, when you ask them what their least favorite champions to play into is, say Teemo?
I mean, no. But it's not about your least favorite champion to play into. It's about your least favorite champion, period.
No, but even then, I don't think it's Teemo. I think Teemo has given that.
I think maybe you have a change of heart, but I don't think that you represent the opinion of every League of Legends player.
No, but like think of how many new League fans there are.
Yeah, I haven't changed.
Well, I mean, I get that, but I'm talking about like the audience at large. If you still hate Teemo, that's completely fine. I know you play Garen. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. But like also I just think that I don't know whether has it changed? Chat, let us know. One in chat if you think Teemo is still just as hated, and anything else in chat if you don't.
Rafanadoli has just taken the opportunity to roast you.
Yeah. We've got quite a few ones.
Yeah, I think Yumi is a good example.
It's feeling a little bit like a bit divided. I still think that like if there is a champion, I guess it's like it comes with like old fans as well that just know that Teemo is the one.
I mean, it's just a testament to like some of the champions that have been released in recent years, like Zeri and
discovering that's actually perfectly correct. No offense taken.
No, that's very accurate.
That's how it works.
Yeah. A new hiding Parsley. I love that name.
Aww.
I do like Parsley. Remember when I said I liked herbs and then everyone called me Grass Boy for like a month?
Yeah, that did happen. Is parsley a herb? Or,
yeah.
Like, is it considered, like, because I just consider it garnish.
No, it's a
I don't
herb.
think you use it like a herb, do you?
Are you talking about flat parsley or curly parsley? Because they're very different. Curly parsley is garnish. Flat parsley has a very distinct taste and is a herb.
I use them both as garnish.
No,
And flat parsley just tastes like grass.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
No, curly does.
I mean, if you were to tell me that, like, oregano, or oregano, depending on how you want to pronounce
Yeah.
it, if you're going to tell me that has a distinct flavor, I'll be like, yes, of course it does.
Yeah, it does.
So does basil, you know, things
Yeah.
like that. Flat parsley, basically just grass. That's the vibe I get. Maybe it's because we had a lot of it outside, and I ate a lot of grass as a kid. So maybe I just like think that like because I don't graze quite as much as I used to.
Why did you eat a lot of grass as a kid?
Oh, I was very hungry, and my parents wouldn't let me snack. We do have a bit of a pause, and we'll just have to see what it's actually about. It might be another device issue. We might be heading over to Europe one more time.
Maybe it's like I'm seeing some like hands. Maybe it's a water bottle issue or a hands.
Oh, Frog has done something.
Something about Frog.
What has right hand fell off? No, it's just his right. Something about his right hand. Right hand is made of metal. His right hand hurts. His right hand
is not here right now, but we'll take a message as soon as they get back to office.
There we go. Or his right hand has exploded. No, because we can see that it's still there. So that's not it.
It is
right hand
lost its frog-like flexibility, and that is a concerning thing.
True. His right hand has a mouse in it.
I think might be good to go.
Well, we're not getting anything else. It's just DRX Frog right hand, and that's all I'm seeing.
From this angle, because of the shadows, it kind of looks like Satep is rocking some serious guy liner, and I'm kind of there for it. It's because of like the lights angle and the way it looks great.
It does panderize pretty hard.
It looked awesome. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Jared Way fan. I get it.
Oh God, wait, how many languages?
So that's Indonesian Zareth.
Oh, he had a hand cramp.
I guess it's sponge though.
Is it sponge?
I mean, based on how he's looking.
It doesn't really look like, Frog's in too much pain.
All right.
Very interesting. I've never had a hand cramp pause before. Never experienced one of these. Do you want to talk about parsley again? What do you think it tastes like if it doesn't taste like grass?
I don't know. I can't explain it, but like I've had a lot of pastas where the ingredients are just, like olive oil, garlic, chilies, and parsley. And if you leave the parsley out, it's a very distinct flavor that you lose.
Yeah, it's a grass flavor. You miss out on the grassy flavor.
Oh, so you do think it has a specific flavor, but you just think it's very
grassy.
Oh, okay. I thought that you thought that it tasted exactly like grass.
No, it's just a grassy flavor.
Yeah, okay. No, that makes sense. Yeah. No, okay. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I think it's very herbaceous.
Herbaceous.
Yeah, and another word for that is grassy. I get it. Yeah, makes sense. We were saying the same thing. It's just a translation issue. We get the pause in.
I still think it works as a garnish, though, just fine.
It does, yeah, of course.
Because it's not.
it looks really nice.
It's not one of those flavors that's going to.
Oh, you can't do it with cilantro.
It's an inoffensive
I get it.
flavor,
Yeah, you can't do that with cilantro.
Yeah, or like even basil. If you use basil is used as a garnish a lot, but if it's used as a garnish, it then becomes part of the meal.
It does, yeah.
No,
it is definitely.
You chop it up, you put it on anything.
It is definitely a lot more subtle. I do agree there. Yeah, 100%. How many conversations about herbs and spice do you think we've had in the street? Well, I mean, earlier the casters were talking about cereal, and we're not Americans, so we had to do something.
We can talk about cereal. Do you not eat cereal?
I ate bread and oatmeal.
Oatmeal cereal?
Oatmeal is not cereal.
I had porridge. I call that cereal.
Oh, really? I feel like cereal is boxed stuff. Also, I think the observers are trying to show us that poke is obnoxious.
It is.
As Doc Tom was hitting a lot of W's.
Hype is having a rough time. As once again, the right, the left, the right of the arcane.
I swear, guys, he gets to play the game at some point.
Perhaps. It was Sponge that had the hand cramp, as we figured out before. But yeah, it was his right hand as well.
I'm happy he's okay. He's fortunately not playing the most mechanically intensive champion.
It's a take from
I
chat.
think that soup for me is thinner.
I
think
oatmeal is technically also.
So I think oatmeal is porridge, but not every porridge is oatmeal. Because you can make rice porridge, you can make like a bunch of different grains. We do have a trap set up here.
DRX. Let's see whether they try and gank Feisty.
They must have a suspicion. Oh, I know they don't. Otherwise, Dr. would have walked away. Now they know.
Yeah, Humbug's moving in, and Frog's like, yeah, try and gank me. That'd be funny. And Dokdom realized that he just dodged a bullet. And Humbug going to take a little bit of damage there, but of course he is a tanky pop. He does have his Sunfire Cape completed. What a Chad.
The funny thing about this DRX comp is that it's a poke comp that doesn't... Like, it'll fall off like very late into the game, but usually a lot of the poke comps are lethality based.
Yeah.
So what happens is, like, if you don't have a huge lead in mid game, you don't really get to play. But this is different because it's Kai'Sa's Zeref, so instead it just gets more and more obnoxious as we get deeper into the game. And I do think that the engage from KT is not that amazing. You don't have... it's very short range. Like, it's decent, but you still are required to, like, walk in ranges. Oh, we do have the TP coming through. I like this from KT. Try to force him out of position.
More teleports coming in right at the Arcane, straight into the back of this Baron Pit, and now the paranoia comes forward. Can they actually find this, though, as the Poppycopter is available? He will get interrupted, though, as Feisty has to get out of there. The Baron is going down incredibly low. It will be secured by DRX. Emperor's Divide comes down, but it is too little, and it is way too late, as DRX will decimate KT in the team fight, grab themselves a Baron, and look for even more. Dokdom gonna find that Void Seeker. Finds that, almost finds the next one. Good sidestep there from Perfect. But yeah, it is too little and too late.
Yeah, I believe in the superior Emperor, and that is Zeref. Get Azir out of here.
But he did. He did. Don't worry.
Yeah,
he is still dead now.
Yeah.
That has been taken care of. And now they're going to break the base in two places as well. Top inhibitor will go down. Mid inhib is going to be next on the chopping block. Although, looks like they're not going to bite off more than they can chew. Satab setting up here. And I was actually just about to say that, yeah, poke compositions often also struggle with Baron damage. This one definitely doesn't struggle with that either, especially not if your enemy team does all the work for you.
And what's really impressive here is that, so you have a unit of Dokdom, Frog and Sponge, Threaten, so Feisty, they have zero, he played really well as well, but they have zero way of, like, they have to stand behind Baron. And, like, even if you dodge all the shots, Baron is killing you.
Yeah.
Like, you're going down, but Satab also did hit the shots. Really, really well done there by DRX, and I like the initial setup, but I think what KT needed to do at the moment that you see the response from DRX, pull the trigger. Like, just go all in, try to kill Dokdom, try to force something, because now, game's done. Like, you're not against Zeref and Kai'Sa with their items, and a Baron buff.
Oh my god.
You're not coming back.
Dokdom just went back and bought a full Void stuff. That's what he did.
Yeah.
Just a Void stuff. Okay, fair enough.
Well, I know
Siege
he
Minion
wasn't
just being attended to.
I know he wasn't the Emperor. I was making a joke because he's overthrowing the Emperor.
Yeah, he got turned into a
He
fridge.
can do that.
That's pretty cool lore.
This is Han Solo lore right there.
Yeah, a bit. I don't know whether it was Carbonite, but it might have been. What is Carbonite? I don't even know. Guess I'll need to talk to Harrison Ford about it. Perfect. Trying to defend as best he can. He's a crocodile. Doesn't really have too many options here. As Hype's back with a full health bar. How long is that going to last is the question. As Dokdom on a flank angle looking for more of these. As there is the ulti forward. Sponge is going to immediately vacate, but they haven't dealt with Dokdom. Humbug going to be flashing, but it's a double kill for the AD carry. The MVP here at Challenger, as Wei is flashing and not going to be flashing far enough. As Satab gets towards the fountain, and I don't think KT are moving much further than that in this particular game. Nexus going to be unceremoniously destroyed, and DRX will move up 1-0 in this best of 5.
And I would have never thought, but I am a Zeref voter. A Satab voter, I'm like, yep, absolutely. But a Zeref voter in 2023? You want me to type for you? I got it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Here.
Can we go with a...
Plata's finest? You know, you can go. You can Sponge. You can
No,
go
I'll go
a bunch of
another
people.
Zereth. I'm a Zereth voter as well. I like seeing the Zereths do the winnings.
It might be might end up being one of those picks where initially it doesn't look good because people still getting used to it, and then the more we see of it, the better it looks. Because in like the last few games we've seen the Zereth, it's actually been working out extremely well.
Yeah, the last couple most definitely.
Yeah, it's the Faker one and then the Challenger one today. And then this one worked out really, really well. I do think the Noxer and Kai'Sa combo as well, I really want to give credit again. That is a nasty combo to play into. Makes it really hard to try and find that counterplay. Because that's what we were saying earlier as well, right? like KT, if they maybe re-engage on that Baron, maybe they, but if if Sponge presses R,
yeah, what are you supposed to do?
you can't counter-engage.
Nope.
Can't be done.
It's just impossible. So
Man.
KT gonna have to go back to the drawing board just a little bit as far as figuring out how to deal with this, because look at all of that damage. It was just like, the scary thing is exactly what you were talking about before, about the fact that this is a poke comp with way more longevity. And the fact that this poke comp, it doesn't matter if you hit a tank, if you hit a squishy, you just do so much damage with Liandry's, with the fact that Kai'Sa can then like stack up a passive on you as well. And then when she chooses to engage, she will mow you down. And this composition murders Baron so incredibly quickly. It's kind of like the new and improved version of the poke compositions that we've been seeing with the Jaces and the Varus and the things like that.
It's also Azir and Xayah both really struggle in playing into range, and we haven't really seen a lot of teams abuse it as much as I feel like they should. In this game, the KT call, if the KT would have won, it would have been through mispositions of DRX, right? Like come mid game, Satep goes a bit too far forward, you get the big sweep, but you need to close the gap. If DRX played well, which in this game clearly they did, I don't think the KT comp really has a lot of opportunities. Like if you go like Nautilus, Aurel, you know, something that can really hard force. But look at the bans from DRX in the second rotation.
Just get rid of all of the engage options for the bottom
so
side.
So then the only thing that would have been remaining is Leona, who is still good, but I think not as consistent as the other two. As shocking turn of events.
Absolutely
look
insane
at the damage
that this happens. Yeah, the damage per gold almost 200%, as this game did not go for very long, but a lot of value was got. 42% of his team's damage, as well as Doctarm was also doing a whole bunch, but it was just the two of them. The rest of the team not really offering too much on that front, but they did not need to, because there was just no real fights outside of turning the lights off and Satep murdering everyone. It's kind of what it seemed like. Very sinister lightning lord.
I'm dubbing this the disco comp. You know, the lights go off, and then in the sky you get like the Xerath
and then you have to
down.
Dance, otherwise you die.
Otherwise you go down.
Oh, it sounds a little bit sinister.
Yeah,
it sounds a bit sinister,
Death
but
Dance
I like
Revolution.
Death Dance Oh my god, that's perfect. If you build a Death Dance as well, it does help you.
No, it doesn't.
No, kind of.
No, not anymore, because it's only AD.
That's true, yeah.
They nerfed it because it was too busted.
Well, let's go to a short break. When we get back, game number 2, we'll see whether KT can turn it all around. G'dowdy and welcome back to LCK Challenger Playoffs 2023. It is summer. It is quite warm in here, and we are ready for game number 2. DRX pretty handily dispatching KT after KT got off to a pretty decent start in game number 1. Just didn't really seem to matter. DRX just stuck to their game plan, yoinked a Baron, and then won the game.
Really like the drafting from DRX, drafting a lot of range and then actually playing accordingly into Azir Xayah. Ended up working out amazingly. And I can only hope that they keep doing this, because it would be very, not even just Challenger, but LCK to get a draft like that. And then in the next one, just go full Renex and Azir. And just like, yeah, it's fine. Comps don't matter. Just play better.
Yeah. And we'll see whether they can actually do that. I assume that we are going to see KT switch over to the blue side. It might mean that they're the team that manages to pick up the Kai'Sa. But we've seen that they don't necessarily feel like the squad that really wants the Kai'Sa in every single way. Like, Hype does seem pretty comfortable with heading towards things like the Xayah and the Zeri and things like that. And I don't know whether it will be the same first pick. Maybe they will prioritize the Azir quite as a little bit more highly and then ban away something like the Xerath to try and stop that matchup from occurring. We'll just have to see how it is going to be worked out, because it probably will be the Kai'Sa, but I don't know whether they're going to be the same team to lock in the same kind of composition that DRX pulled off so well.
Yeah, also because Xerath is really, you can't just pick him up. You really need to put in a lot of games, a lot of reps, because he's all skill shots with no way to survive really at all. Outside of E, which is that's not enough. No,
and it's kind of similar in playstyle to something like a Victor, right? Yeah, Victor does get a little bit more movement speed from his Q and things like that, but you don't have any dashes, you don't have any mobility. You're not going to be able to shift the sands to get out of the way of things like that, so it does require a little bit more reserved play, stand back, have a bit of better positioning, and we know Satab is a fantastic Victor player, always has been. So
Rice as well.
Yeah, moving over to this kind of champion does make a bit of sense. But we'll just have to see how it is going to be figured out. I think this next draft is going to tell us a lot about how this series is going to pan out. Whether it is going to go the distance or whether it is going to be shut down unceremoniously in 3 games. Because right now, it is kind of feeling like DRX have their number, but that can happen in a game number 1 where you get the champions that you want, a game plan does come together, and you're able to play it out.
I've listened to Go the Distance by Michael Bolton so much recently. Every time anyone talks about series going the distance, all I can hear is just that song.
Just Hercules?
Just Hercules, yeah. But then, you know, Michael Bolton, because if you can go Michael Bolton,
that is
you
true.
should.
That is true. There's generally not many other answers.
He just speaks straight to the heart, and I really appreciate that, as we do have some KT fans here. And do not worry, just a game 1 and not going to be indicative. But I do agree with you. If this is a 2-0, challenger teams are inherently a lot more volatile. If you end up going 2 games down, we have seen some teams be able to crawl their way back from that. But this KT roster, not that tested, right? They started playing in challengers, most of them throughout like this year, some at the begining of or halfway through last year, but
a much better year for this squad as well. We have to remember.
They were what, like 3rd, 4th,
2nd, I'm pretty sure. I think they got up in to regular 2nd towards the end of the regular season.
Yeah, and then of course in the end, it ended up being DRX and D+.
Had the late resurgence in playoffs in order to get them back up there once again. Someone mentioned Johnny Bravo, and you just can't see it anymore. Yeah, that is actually where I got my idea for my haircut. Do the KT, LCK, and KT CL teams have the same or different coaches? Oh, there's different coaches for both squads. That's why you saw Bubbling move up and Acorn move down, for example, for DK a little bit earlier on. There are head coaches for both the Challenger rosters and for the LCK rosters, so it is entirely separate. I imagine they, collaborate and things like that during the week, but when it comes to game day, you have your specific teams for each squad. So plenty of stuff for both of these, for both squads, and that's why you see a lot of differences between the LCK and the Challenger rosters and how they're played out, because the coaching staff works with this specific, 5, 6, 7 players, and the other one works with the other ones.
And yeah, just practically right. Like challengers is still, these are professional players. There's a bit more going on because a lot of them will still be in school because they're like 15.
Yep.
But there is a lot that comes with managing challengers, and the same for the LCK proper. It isn't really feasible to do that and try to manage 2 teams at once. It's a lot of work.
Certainly is. KT going to ban away the Poppy. I actually really like this. I think Humbug, if you're not going to win in 4 games, maybe just don't try it in a best of 5. Again, also going to be banning away the Maokai here. And I wonder what this necessarily means, as 3 jungle bans already down, the Tristana also taken off the board. And do DRX take away the Kai'Sa is the question, or are they going to go with something else?
I wouldn't be surprised if they leave it open. DRX have been great about finding consistent counter picks, and on the red side you can really try and leverage that. It would allow you to get counter pick on every single lane. I don't think there necessarily are a lot of picks that for Kai'Sa, for example, are really going to make her life absolutely unplayable. We have seen that Xayah has actually been great. If the enemy team doesn't punish her, because between Ziggs, there have been a lot of answers. And I actually like the Kai'Sa ban more because I do think that, as mentioned, even if you do go for a ranged matchup into Xayah, or into Kai'Sa, rather, it feels like delaying the inevitable.
Yeah.
Because she can always reach the poke stage. She can always get on top of you and be a problem. Don't love this.
Yeah, it's pretty
from
uninspired,
KT.
isn't it? And it does make sense, right? Because Feisty has played the majority of his games here in Challenger on the Azir, but it feels like a crutch, right? It feels like not a difference from the last series. And DRX can lock away the Nocturne. They can also get a Jax if they'd like to, add a little bit of that side lane threat that they didn't quite have in the last game.
As well.
Yeah, you could get a whole bunch of things. Rakan, I think Rakan is actually a great option because Pleta played so well.
Too. Yeah. It's, as a shout out to Drunken Doctor, love that. We've had great first time chatters today.
Thanks, Drunken Doctor.
That's amazing. Love the 1-2 of the Nocturne and the Rakan because it is a very flexible.
I hope the Drunken Doctor isn't practicing right now.
I hope not, because it's a very, very consistent core that can do a lot of different things. You can, like, if they go all in here, if they don't lock away Xayah, you can go Xayah and be perfectly happy.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
You get the lovers duo in the bot lane.
I think Xayah is probably going to get locked in right now.
They have to. I think that, but this is my problem.
But then it's not good, right?
Yeah. Like,
because now, like, you can play a whole bunch of things. I even think Ziggs right here kind of base.
I would love it.
That would be.
And
that
DRX
would be super
is
cool.
a team that has done things like this in the
Dom
past.
is a great Ziggs player. But they can also just take away the Xerath. You just, like, lock in Xerath and then play whatever you want towards that bottom side. I'd also, like, Ezreal kind of okay. I'm not a huge fan.
Same.
But I think saving, because Dom does have a very large champion pool, you could have something like oh man, there are lots of different things that you can be picking up. The Kog'Maw has been very strong.
Yeah.
The Ziggs, there's many options.
I think the main reason why they feel prized into specifically Ezreal, which I am with you, not a huge fan, is obviously Xerath is going to get taken away, is because the Vi lock-in alone devalues picks like Varus or other picks that we've seen into Xayah.
Or the Kog'Maw like us.
Yeah, exactly. That actually can punish the Xayah either in lane or later on in the game. Now, there is, of course, some flex potential. We haven't seen it, but you can go Ezreal mid as well and then try to lock in the Ziggs here for bot side anyway, which 100% is not going to get banned now.
That could be really interesting.
Yeah. That is, again, does leave you with a mid jungle that is kind of rough. I also don't know how well Ezreal Ziggs would fit in the comp.
14, so you could technically go
like
the Shiv Night Harvester on Ezreal.
Yeah, you can. AP Ezreal is completely fine. And it's also Ezreal into Azir you're not going to be feeling too bad about. Yeah. I don't think that's going to be the case, though. I do wonder what the answer is going to be here for DRX. Something with dive, ideally, is what you'd go for, so the Lissandra does make sense. Ahri, obviously, taken away, and I think that giving yourselves an opportunity to think about it, definitely a good call.
Yeah, I think Renekton, when, you know, Frog just wants to play it for the 20th time, you may as well just lock it in. Try and go for a record of the most times you've played the same champion throughout a season. I think that one could certainly work out. And so Frog going to lock that one away once again. So it is going to be Satab that has the last laugh here, and we'll have to figure out whether or not it is going to be the Ezreal in the mid lane. I'd love it if it was just a Ziggs lock-in. in this last slot. That would be so, so cool.
As it is the Leona, we did see that lesson is taken away, as I would kind of love that. Although I do think that the buffs to Camille are not on this patch, on 15, where she does actually get a very meaningful buff, gets a lot more damage on her autos within her Aztec ultimatum. Not going to be the case that it will just be Cassante, and I don't know why I got excited. What will it be? We didn't consider Nico. Nocturne Nico. Not fun.
Yeah, that sounds like another pretty decent combination, and now it sort of makes sense as to why DRX didn't immediately lock in the Xerath, right? Because Nico, Xerath, and Ahri, all very understandable synergies with this Nocturne. And so Satab's like, well, I got 3 champs I can play. They can't ban them all. They definitely can't pick it. So we're in the money. And so once again, DRX off to the races with this particular draft. I don't necessarily feel like the Ezreal is going to be the difference maker here, but the Nico Nocturne combination, mid-jungle, something that we've been talking about a heck of a lot, and Satab played very, very well in game number 1. That is why I'm a little bit worried here for KT, but we'll see whether it is going to be a bottom lane victory that they can try and find with Dr. Maybe not having quite as much like, I'm just going to spam W over and over again and win the game. He's going to have to get a little bit more involved. We do know that he really likes Ezreal, but it may not be enough this time.
Seems what which build he goes. I do think that Ezreal builds have been woefully underexplored in the LCK. There are a lot more viable ones than just going Triforce Mana Moon every single game. You can go for Tank Buster builds. You can go for really like Essence Reaver early on to try and go. Essence Reaver Quick Blade is a really good example of a build that allows you to just.
It was nerfed a little bit.
Completely, it was, yeah, to completely blow up squishies. But I think that it still does that. Yeah. Right. No. We'll see. I do think that the core of this DRX composition is just a great teamfight comp, which is going to rely a lot on Satab, given that he's been one of the best performing mid laners and has a Nocturne to enable him. I don't think DRX fans will be too scared.
Nope. And they also have a 1-game buffer. Let's rock out for a little bit and get our doo-doo-doos out of the way.
Was a bit slow.
I wanted to do an extra do-do-do-do. Because there was the fan chants that came in afterwards. The fan chants also waited for us to get our do-do-do-doos done.
Yeah, I love that.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, ER Quickblades LDR is a great example of an Ezreal build that would actually do...
I do like it that Sajax always posts the builds the players are never going to actually
No, never.
In the chat. And they all tend to make sense. I think one of them eventually happened, but it was like 4 weeks or something.
It's fine.
That it took.
Again, I don't like Ezreal that much, but Ezreal is not going to have a lot of help. It is one of the few AD carries that make sense with a dive composition because he's very self-sufficient, can be left alone, as this is all on vision. Yeah. So it is indeed something that KT is fully aware of. We'll see how much that is going to matter.
Yep. Balding Phoenix says something that I don't understand.
The moon has gone pale.
The moons has gone pale. What does it mean?
I don't know if we're...
It's kind of provocative.
It gets me going.
Yeah. You and the people, I think.
I would say so, personally, yeah. Absolutely.
Huh.
Interesting.
Well, there we go.
Is it just a Diana quote? One of her skills is called Pale Crescent, isn't it?
Yes. Pale Cascade.
Pale Cascade, there you go. Yeah, this also was, as mentioned.
Check in moons? Oh, like check in PC.
He has an 11 KDA on Rakan.
Yeah, and a very binary list of scoreline there as well.
That is not...
It's pretty cool.
That's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, kind of dope. Pleta, since moving back to support, has looked just as good as he was when he was a great AD carry.
It turns out that's kind of how it works. Sponge is going to make his way over. They did have a ward on the crossing, so he should be aware. He should still be able to be up a full camp here, so not going to feel too sad. One thing that Frog needs to be mindful of is that he can't be in a position to get dove. You know Hambach is on this side of the map, Frog.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they just swapped positions. The double flash going to come out. Still going to be a successful gank, but that was kind of amusing.
It works out.
Yeah.
I think he could have just positioned more careful and taken into account that the enemy jungler was definitely going to be on top side. But, hey, doesn't die. Hambach flashes as well. You'll take it.
And now, Hambach is moving towards the mid lane. Doesn't have flash, as we just learned. So Satab is going to be A-OK. Throwing out these Bloomin' Bursts where he can find him. And so far we can see the bottom lane going very, very well for DRX. Top lane, a similar story. Sponge is just hard farming, and a lot of this is going to be on whether Hambach can cause some disruptions in this earlier stage of the game via, of course, capable of ganks a little bit earlier than Sponge on this Nocturne.
He hasn't even cleared his bot side yet. He's living his best life. He's just power farming up.
Oh, yeah.
And they picking up another camp here.
I mean,
then
Sponge... Yeah, so he's just going to head back to his bottom side and then
clear that out
very,
and then back.
good.
Yeah, and then the timing is also a little bit awkward here for Hambach. This is a really good gank timer though, because Frog's wave is pushing away from him, and you know that the enemy jungler is probably on bot side, given that he started on your camps. Doesn't look like they are going to go for the angle though. Frog is still positioning pretty defensively.
Yeah, he's going to have to keep doing so though, because you can see Hambach, he's ready. And as soon as Frog presses that E button, you best believe
he's holding onto it.
And he absolutely is. Was moving down, thinking about going for a little bit of a ward, and that is not going to work out. Slice dice, and he's going to be absolutely fine.
It's completely okay. Living a great life, as we do see Sponge 11 CS up. Now going to go back. Then go and full clear from his top side, and should be getting pretty close to level 6 after that. So early game working out well. And we also see that Dokdam actually going for the aggressive setup here with the D-Blade. We've seen a lot more Zayas go for call, but it does mean that in this matchup you are going to get bullied a little bit. Not even due to Rakan, because Rakan is obviously not the best laner, but just the threat of Ezreal going in aggressively is... Yeah, how much is gonna... Like, maybe he gets Krugs? Should be able to get Krugs, but that's not... That's still not a lot.
I would not say it's an even trade.
No.
That is absolutely true. However, it does leave him towards his top side with a Renekton that just teleported back. And even if the gank can come through and they can get a bit of damage onto Frog, cause him to go back or something like that, and it could give Perfect a bit of an avenue. But this is like, yeah...
It's so cursed, trying to gank Renekton. As, hiding parsley should have been in bed hours ago, but I want to catch it live. Seems like a friendly place, and the caster are sweethearts. Good night.
And your name's Hiding Parsley as
I
well.
know.
We were discussing Parsley earlier on.
That's what prompted it.
Absolutely beautiful.
Wonderful.
It's great to see you. Great to have you here. And if you are going to go to bed, just know that the VOD will be here when you wake up somewhere.
This isn't one of those Challengers days where we could say, oh yeah, if you wake up, we'll probably still be here.
No. And if DRX continue to play as aggressively as they have been, as Hambach is able to secure his big popcorn chicken.
The first one.
Yeah, it could be a quickie, is what I'm saying. DRX going to be able to take the first Drake, second one going to be a Hex Tech. And the Soul could be a Cloud, could be an Infernal. And probably the worst option is going to be Ocean in this game. So it is going to be Drakes to fight for here for either side. Currently, not much of a gold advantage, though, for anyone. And we know that this composition for DRX does want some level 6s to be hit. KT, a very similar fashion. And the scaling conversation, I think, kind of does move towards KT in this comp. Just because I feel like Hype will have a little bit more agency, is a little bit less of the very frustrating uber long range poke.
Yeah.
It's not the same as dealing with a Xerath Kai'Sa situation as this Xayah. So it might be that we'll have an honest 5v5 where Hype starts the battle without having 15 health.
Would really help, and that's not 15%, that's literal.
Yeah.
We went down to 15 health on a lot of the poke. Is Sponge gonna hit 6 of this, or are they just... Oh, he's so close. Oh,
man.
Look at that experience bar. Oh, not going to be the case, though. Could have been a good angle if Satab, like, hits his, and then Sponge walks up to the wave. Not going to be the case. They also get a ward down, so Sponge knows that he's fought. But they can collapse here. I don't know if they see Hambach, but they can definitely go aggressive here once he's spotted, with Sponge now being level 6.
Dr. also hitting a whole bunch of poke onto Hype here towards the bottom side right after I finished saying that he doesn't have to worry about quite as much poke. But see where the Sponge has to worry about Hambach. He's just going to walk in and kind of just take his lunch money.
Renekton is on his way. Zero's earlier, though.
Duskblade going to move in. Feisty in position like you were talking about. So Sponge not going to be able to take his red buff. That is going to be secured by Hambach. Aggressive play on the Vi. You love to see it. There is a Paranoia available. DRX can fight back as there's the grand entrance. Hype taking a bit of damage here. But of course, Wei is basically immortal by pressing W. They will be all right at this point in time. Sponge can avoid some CC by pressing his spell shield button, but he doesn't even have to. Hambach is going to let him live for now.
Hambach does have flash still available. Doctom and Plata are also trying to keep a lot of pressure on the 2v2 to ensure that there won't be an opportunities. Ooh, Hambach snuck in between, but they know.
Yep, Sponge is going to move in, gets the fear down onto Hambach here, who decides he needs to cease and desist, but that is still a Pop Blossom. That should be a dead Vi as the flash comes over. Sponge trying to survive, but it's not going to work. Pleta has already quickness, though, and he dives forward. Feisty going to die. And now Satab looking for the secondary kill onto Wei here at the same time. And by second, I mean third. As DRX, they answer back beautifully. Pleta just seems to be everywhere he needs to be today.
His game sense is just amazing. Able to be there just at the nick of time. Could have been just a one-for-one trade, which DRX would have been perfectly fine with. But instead, it gets turned on his head. You see Hambach gets found out. Really great read here from DRX right from the get-go. And turning, I think, is actually the only course of action here, because you're never getting out with the position that you're in. And then this play, Sponge ends up going down. It looks somewhat so that Satab hits the roof. Pleta, Flash, has the quickness up already, gets on top of them. And that also gives a kill over to the Nico. And this mid-jungle duo is the most important part of the DRX comp. If Sponge and Satab are fed, the comp works. Right now, that's not looking too bad.
And I feel like this Rakan is really demonstrating how well it fits into these compositions as well. We saw it represented last time around as well, as I cast a curse the heck out of Pleta there.
Nice.
My apologies, but it's fine. I think he's still proved his point, even though he is now very, very dead. Sponge going to be able to take this Rift Herald, and Hype getting some damage down onto this outer turret as Doctom doesn't have the right to be there because his support just died. So 2 plates do go over to Hype. Definitely good news for him as Hambach on the enemy Gromp. Doctom will move back in, wanting to at least get the next wave worth of experience. Hambach can go for a potential dive, but doesn't have cease and desist for the next few seconds.
Yeah, it's also Ezreal Rubicon on the way, so they don't want to take the risk. And we take another look. Really nice trap here. They know that Pleta will be trying to cover. And very straightforward. Find the Q. CC chain is there. And Pleta doesn't even get a W away.
Nope.
And the best way to do it, Rakan does now pick up his mercs in immediate response. Like, no.
I like it.
No more of that.
It looks like it is going to be the Trinity Force build here for Doctor, much to a few of us our chagrin. But still, will be doing plenty of damage as he does get his Mirror Mana completed. 2-item spike, still something worth talking about for the Ezreal as we head towards a mid-game. And he is at a pretty good clip right now on this Ezreal, ahead by about a wave in comparison to Hype. So those 2 plates going down, we'll see whether they can get some extra money into him by perhaps utilizing the Rift Herald. They could do something like that, but it's most likely going to go towards the mid lane. Stockdom and Pleta in the area. Perfect moving down. Possible gank opportunity towards Satab, but he is playing pretty defensively here in the mid lane. Frog going to be going home. And it all seems to have, I don't know, I guess calmed down a little bit in this mid game as Sponge has started up the Dragon.
Satab does have his rockets, or is it, yeah, it's a rocket belt now, right? It's no longer proto belt. It's rocket belt ready. TP's in.
It's dash cannon.
True.
It's been dash cannon forever.
I guess. But it's not a cannon.
Dash cannon.
No, I know the LCK colloquialism, but it's not a cannon exactly, is it?
Looks like a cannon to me.
Does it?
Well, I don't know. It looks like a jetpack.
Well, yeah.
actually, but how does that have anything to do with a rocket belt?
Well, it's only the back part that, you know, it's like a belt, but it's a jetpack version
But
of a
wouldn't
belt.
that be a backpack?
Well, yeah, I mean, not really. It's like you have the belt,
Yeah.
and then at the back end of the belt is where the jetpack goes.
Oh, it's like a fanny pack.
Yeah, that's why it's a
Ah.
rocket belt.
Ah, it's a dash cannon. I'm sorry. I wanted to humor it just for a little bit, as we saw Satab just utilize it just there. Looked a bit like a dash with a cannon shot towards the end. I was all about it. We are going to see the Rift Herald pop down though here in this mid lane, and plates are plenty here for DRX. Two of them left in that mid lane. As Splitter moving on over. Ooh, only one left now. They do get a fair bit of value, and that 25 gold actually goes awry as well, as Feisty's not able to lock that one down. So a lot of value being picked up. Still not going to change the gold advantage very much at all. And I think DRX probably sitting pretty, right? Like, I feel like they do have a lot of tools. Right now, Pop Blossom and the Paranoia both up and available. And so DRX, where they're going to strike next, I think is going to tell us a lot. As Wei moving on over, and Satab might actually just be able to take this?
Yeah,
Surely not.
I mean, Sponge is covering
He is,
for it
yeah.
as well. I do understand. Are we going to have another?
I've seen this before,
This
yeah.
has happened already.
Humbug is going to be avoided as Pop Blossom does come down. Humbug is likely to be just dead as... Oh, he flashes away. That is going to be the 1-for-1. Both junglers now being taken down. Feisty a fair bit of damage there, but he gets snared. And so KT are going to answer. I actually thought that was going to be way worse for them, but it is going to be a flash advantage, I guess, for DRX. Oh, never mind, actually. It is just going to be a flash each, just the jungler one for the mid.
And both flashes very valuable, give Satab a lot more backline access when he can flash Rocket Belt and use his ultimate. And for Humbug, obviously, Devi can go for flash Q plays, and that's great setup into subsequent Rs. We've also not talked about the Drake. Both these two teams are going to have an insane amount of value from the Dragon. I think that for DRX, it's a lot more essential. We do see passive goes down. They're not actually able to get Sponge here with the ultimate, but then he still gets hit by the Q. So Sponge should have just kited it out. I think that the Vi always ends up dying there. So it goes in a little bit over-aggressive.
It was pretty nice being able to spell shield to cease and desist. We've seen quite a few spell shields just be straight up missed by our Nocturnes, even in the LCK. And so that was a pretty nice one there from Sponge.
It was. And the big benefactor are Satab and Feisty. Feisty this time around feeling a bit better. Also had Crown there, so wasn't actually at any risk of dying. This is a Crown game. You're playing into a lot of backline dive and a lot of upfront burst. So I do think it makes sense. It just still, it always hurts me.
Yeah.
The Crown just never sparks that much joy.
Not very inspiring, as Pop Blossom is going to come through, but the flash comes out from Feisty to mitigate it. Still, you'd take that R button for flash trade for DRX. As Splitter just going to help clear out this wave once again, kind of exactly where he needs to be to avoid his mid laner from dying.
Yeah.
To avoid his mid laner from dying. I don't think that sentence made sense.
It does to me, but that's generally not a good thing.
Yeah, it's not a good sentence. It wasn't a good sentence. I think, you know, it's understandable, but that's not really what we kind of want correct as well.
Well, you are an English second language speaker like
that
me.
is true. That is
so
true.
I think it's okay, personally.
If anyone speaks English as a first language, let us know whether that is something that you can tolerate. I've personally forgotten the sentence. As KT are now going to get to work on Shirley. Yeah, that is going to be down now. They do have access to the Paranoia, but no Pop Blossom. And it is going to be Humbug securing it. So nothing to worry about here if you are KT. Still Humbug is on the prowl. Frog going to move up. Satab in position, very close to having that ultimate back available. And so KT, they will back away. 19 seconds on this Mountain Drake.
Yeah, that's the main thing. This is nicely done, but I like the call from DRX here because I think getting yourself the soul point on a Mountain Drake way more valuable than Satab. They don't know.
Oh, does find a massive snare as Hype is very close to just dead.
That's
Drake. If he had ult, then he'd just be able to kill him. But like you say, should just be Dragon.
Restrained there as well. I think a lot of players would have tried to go for the ult there, but DRX identified it. That's it. That's the objective.
That's all
it's
you
gone
need.
right there.
And you can't engage into a Nico if she has Pop Blossom available.
Yeah. And it's also, again, cognizant of the fact that if Satan goes in there and there's a Zir, there's a Feather Storm, like you can end up going down, and that will lose you your objective. Instead, they get it and
Yeah, Paranoia going to come down. Pleta has found another victim here as the Pop Blossom comes in, and that is a dead Leona. Oh, wow. You can't exactly be the Queen of the Sun if it's just nighttime all the time.
If there's no sun. Yeah. No, doesn't work.
Feels bad. I also found that everyone is a second language English speaker. We've got people that speak the American version and all sorts of stuff. So I guess we'll just never know whether my sentence was correct or not.
2 ults for Leona, is that worth? Probably. Yeah, there's nothing to fight over. It's not like KT is gonna snap engage on Baron when they have Crown Azir and a Xayah that is just, you know, on the curve, not really ahead.
Yep. And I guess, like, what we were talking about last time as well, with the fact that the ult was saved, that could have been used in the mid lane, and that would have meant that they wouldn't have been able to get the kill onto Leona. They probably could have, I guess, but it would have taken a little bit of extra time.
Also, really cute from Sponge. She's like, I'll just press R to make sure there's nothing funny happening.
Yeah.
There's no counterplay available.
Doctor, I'm going to move on over, grab himself this Bramble back, and man, it is just like, even though there is no gold advantage, it feels like DRX are crushing them. Is that weird, or is that just me? Like,
no, I'm with you. It's the sense of control. I think DRX, their gameplay has felt very deliberate, and the plays that they've gone for have largely worked out. And they are also sitting on a Mountain Soul point.
Yeah,
that's a large part of it.
There is a ward here as Sponge is going to get engaged on. Does have to flash, actually, to get himself out of the way, as Emperor's Divide is just going to straight up whiff. Shirley takes a little bit of a dance in the sky, but she still will be able to plunge her head into this inner turret. KT not able to find too much, but they do manage to get the turret, but Frog going to be able to trade it here.
I think that's still a favorable trade for KT, though. They get the flash on Sponge, Satep is forced to flash when Feisty goes in, and they get a charge and a mid lane turret, and all you give up is a bot side turret, so still not going to be feeling too bad. And unlike the previous game, this time around, I don't think that anyone is going to be able to just completely invalidate Feisty and Hype's existence. So there is still a lot of angles here for KT. They're also very even in gold. But the Mountain, for me, weighs very heavily. I think Mountain Soul is so incredibly obnoxious to play into. His Doctor might be in trouble.
Does have Arcane Shift available, and the cleanse. The Cease and Desist is going to do some weird stuff after the Arcane Shift. Still,
the TP.
True Shot Barrage comes down, and in goes Sponge. Pop Blossom finds all 3 as Hype Feather Storms, and Doctor just puts him down. That is going to be the vibe falling as well, and there is no way out. Oh, that unfortunate naming there, as DRX are now looking for the Baron.
And DRX set up a trap, then used the ultimate. Initially, it looks like they are only trying to keep Duckdom safe. Crown procced.
Yeah, that is not the real Satap. Having a bit of a spin there as Sponge looking to try and escape. Exactly. Perfect. Going to be moving on over. Thankfully, there is a bouncer Frog as a Crocodile. It's very strange. But DRX not going to be able to do the Baron. Off the back of that one, 2 full health solo laners going to come on over and protect the game, to be perfectly honest. Doctor Arm going to get the engaged on here. As you can see, that is how you mitigate the cease and desist, I guess.
And this is, I think, a large part of the reason why they picked the Ezreal into, and then this play. Beautifully done. Satep even disguised as Renekton to minimize, you know, the chances of them responding appropriately. Because if that's a Renekton flank, you believe it as well. And KT feels like a Hail Mary. I do quite like it. TP coming in from Frog.
We've seen this one before, though. Let's see whether DRX do have the answer. Here's the Paranoia. There's the dive in. Somehow it's Ezreal that takes away the Baron. But KT, can you actually win the fight? Frog goes golden, and the Phalanx has been set up. Hype is going to be able to take that first kill, as they're not able to take down the real Satap. The fake one gets obliterated. Still,
they got the Nash,
DRX
though.
just get the Baron, and Pleta is still looking for more. They want to stop some backs here. They will be able to do so. Humbug in trouble as Perfect looking to fight this one out. Feisty moving on over, but Humbug is already dead, and Doctarm is kind of a raid boss right now. He's just auto-attacking. Pleta is going to survive. What is this play? What has he been eating today, man? Like, Pleta is just an absolute monster.
Oh, just roll swap, by the way. No biggie.
Yeah, exactly.
Played AD carry for like
Also,
the last
like,
2 years.
came in and replaced
Yeah, it's
like
fine.
Korea, who was actually like
It's
really,
fine.
really good. Didn't matter.
Yeah,
No.
it's all right. First, I want to see how does Duckdom end up picking this up. Going to take a look at the smite. There is no smite here for Sponge. Let's see how low it goes.
Was that like a 1500 damage Q?
No, it must have been like the
There must have been the same time as the smite.
Yeah,
and the
that
smite
is
was a little
tragic there. Because we saw it go down from 1326 to 0.
Yeah. Denunciator asks an interesting question. Is it possible that Duckdom is a better AD carry than Teddy? I think we saw Duckdom beat Teddy a few times.
This play from Plata where he goes in here on Feisty to deny him the ability to DPS him, knowing that Perfect wouldn't be able to get him, and then gets back over the wall, stays alive. Mountain Soul's picked up now. That's gonna be it.
Yeah. Wow. This is nutty.
Ooh, I don't even feel like KT are playing bad.
No, I think that DRX are just really leveling up towards the end of the split. This is exactly where you need to. Of course, it is in the spirit of the organization to just get better with age. And Satab is going to do a bit of a roundabout here, wandering past the turret. Going to send the minion version of himself towards Hype and Humbug. And I guess we do need to gather ourselves a little bit. That is going to be that Mountain Soul that you were talking about. That is extraordinarily valuable.
Yeah.
Feisty is splitting towards this top side of the map, and they do have Azaya with 2 items complete, things like this. There are theoretically ways to get this done as Satab moves on over. Feisty is around for too much longer. That is just ridiculous. It's 11 health. That's not
cool.
No, that's not very fair at all. And maybe this just gives enough time for the bounties to be set up, and then he walks on over and just like flaps it with his wing.
Yeah.
And that's going to take it down.
It's not an insurmountable lead that KT have to overcome here. I just think it's really, really hard to play out from here because Mountain Shield gives so much extra levels of safety to everyone on DRX. Where if Humbug ults someone, like they probably don't die. Like if you get Frog or Sponge, it's really hard to kill them. They're very tanky. Satab, self-explanatory, has a stopwatch. And Duckdom is Ezreal.
Yeah.
So he should never be getting caught.
Oh, Sagex, by the way, says that there was 0 frames on broadcast between 1326 HP and 0.
Yeah.
That's actually crazy.
I actually have no idea how, what
is it just that, like, surely Duckdom's Q didn't do that much damage?
No, of course not. No, it can't. It's not possible. So it must have been, like, a smite and then literally a frame, like a split second later, the auto came through, or the Q.
A split second.
It was the Q, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like the timing is actually ridiculous. That is a tilter for KT.
It's got to be.
Man. Because Sponge didn't have, like they fight them off the Baron, then they set up the Baron for themselves, and I think the fight would have always gone the way of DRX, but at least we have the opportunity to maybe get some Baron recalls off. You know, maybe then the fight doesn't snowball the way it did. Maybe you can contest somehow for the dragon. As far as this crown actually has been getting an insane amount of value. Like I'm.
To be honest, yeah, like
it's been really good.
And you can talk about it like, but each True Shot barrage just breaks the crown. But if he didn't have the crown, he'd now be at 50% health.
Yeah, because this is a fed Ezreal.
Yeah,
and Duckdom is also, he's going for.
This is the MVP of the league, okay? He does extra damage.
Yeah, I know.
Extra damage.
I'm a big Duckdom enjoyer, but I'm not. I'm with you on that not being.
I don't think it's.
Thing.
I am also a huge Dockers fan. That is absolutely true. That is not to say that I am that's not my football team. I'm a Richmond Tigers fan. The Dockers are fine, but never really been a
no idea what you're talking about.
Fremantle is a football team in Australia. They are the Dockers. Guthanadolia would know, but I think they left because they were at work or something like that. Anyway, I still think that it should have been a DK player because they went on a massive win streak. And it's the whole season that you have to take into account. As that Cyril does, yeah, maybe Hype just goes back, sells the quick blades, and he's like, I'm gonna need a crown.
Hype has just been Just say, I don't want to play Xayah. Not another game, please. As in they go.
Yeah, Humbug
That's
looking for an
fraud.
opportunity.
He only took the shield. Look at the trade.
Yeah, and Humbug is not going to be able to do that very comfortably again. He's got a stopwatch. That is great, but I mean, it's 2 items already completed here for Sponge. And we're not even anywhere near the conversation about something like a GA for Humbug to allow him to go in more aggressively.
No, Saytab will eventually get spotted by some of these wards, but might be too late at that.
Oh man, if he can actually get round here, he is in
They
the
don't know.
form
They don't
of
know.
The Sponges. There's the paranoia. He's able to pop blossom his way forward. Doesn't exactly hit everyone, but that snare, absolutely massive. Flitter gets into the backline to try and save them as well, as Hype is doing decent work here. Saytab goes golden. Hype, can you actually win out the fight? The answer is no. And now Frog's moving over to look for Wei and Humbug. Feisty already dead. The damage is now gone. The Baron is alive, but they don't have a lot of damage here in order to take that one down, and no jungler. They're not going to risk it for the moment.
Still really big from KT. I think they actually correctly identified who was Nocturne and who wasn't here. Because you can see Feisty preemptively is able to get Saytab off of the core of his front line. Preemptive ultimate there as well. From Hype actually ends up working out really well. And Wei, as well as Perfect, do a really good job of stalling, which is why this is not a complete blowout, right? It's still a favorable fight for DRX.
Doctom almost died to the Cassante things happening in the backline as well.
The main issue
Oh, that was close.
He got it. Humbug, he did smite it though. Elder Flip? Elder Flip?
I mean, that could be the angle. 2 seconds, and that one is going to be here. There she blows. All right, let's see what Humbug's going to be able to get done. Does have that smite charge back up and available once again. So many shenanigans are possible here for KT, though. They do have the paranoia up. They have the Pop Blossom. They have everything available. Saytab is a secondary blender Nocturne waiting in this brush. Going to be moving away. Fletter, ground procced. Decent angle here as well. He can get over that wall very effectively. And KT, they're holding on to aggro right now, of course. Perfect can tank it for quite some time. DRX, you can see, like, this shape splitter, everything like that as they dive on forward. Here's the paranoia now as well. Featherstorm already used. As into the backline goes Fletter. Does get the quickness down, but Hype is already dead. Feisty going to follow. It's a double for Saytab. Perfect going to be wiped the floor off, and that is a double for the Crocodile as well. DRX, they need no Elder to win this game. They'll just march down the mid lane.
Oh, DRX able to get the value out of their Mountain Soul there. And KT, the unfortunate issue with this comp is if you're the one pulling the trigger, it's not going to work out. See it there as well. They try and hard force. Wei goes in deep, but they're not really in a position to try and play the slow game, right? They're going to get poked down eventually. And DRX are going to go up 2-0, defeated faces on the side of KT.
I have to say, though, I was so impressed by how DRX played that game. Also, probably one of the more impressive Ezreal picks that we've seen so far this season, and that is in both leagues. Ezreal has been something that we've seen sort of go out with a bit of a whimper in a lot of games. Am I a Doctom enjoyer?
I think you can go Doctom. I think you can go Saytab.
I think it might be the Saytab angle, though. It might have to.
You know what I did?
Oh, okay, yeah. Put me down for another one.
Yeah, he's doing it.
Because he kind of deserves it as well for the last game, and he didn't get it.
I actually think his Rakan is at this, it's must ban.
Completely correct.
Just ban it.
Yep. And I think it's what you need in order to allow the Nocturne to come in as well. I actually think that like these Nocturne compositions with the pick-based mid laner, they benefit so much from having the Rakan there. So hats off to Pletter and how incredibly well he played, enabling both Doctom and Saytab to get everything done that they wanted. It's just kind of nutty that DRX are winning so handily in this series. I said it before, like, you can understand why a 3-0 is something to be expected, but I didn't know whether it was actually going to happen. And I'm a bit sad. I want to see KT fight back.
Yeah. we have seen it within challengers. These players, I think they deserve all the credit in the world. But I find it very hard because the core issue for me is that DRX have just looked like they have such a good read on what are our strengths, how do we play around our composition, and they just feel like a very well-rounded team. This kind of goes back to why they were so good last year in spring.
Yeah.
Didn't end up winning. Team ended up falling apart, although obviously a lot of the individual pieces have still landed very well, right? Satep's still here.
Yep.
Plata's still here. But obviously both Sponge and Claire, I think, have done well for themselves. Or Peach and Claire, rather.
Yep.
And it makes it really hard to play into this team. And then you also add Dokdam, who is just, like, even at his worst, was just a, like, top half AD carry.
He's been in the conversation
LCK
since he joined.
And that's the LCK, by far the most stacked roles AD. Like, it's not even remote. Oh, I guess you can make an argument for mid in some other splits, but right now, I think AD carry definitely is at the forefront. And
it has the most good players in it,
yeah.
I think. Like, I think mid is probably where our best players are, but I think that AD carry, we have so many good AD carries, it's kind of
really
nutty.
Do. And
Puddock has actually been performing really well. DRX kind of, they're doing all right when it comes to the AD carry role. Not too bad at all. You have to remember as well that Beryl was formerly an AD carry also. Him and Becca, now Fleta, actually made the same transition. Is it interesting or not?
Hey!
And he picks it up. He was just, man, he was so good. And almost keeps it binary as well. Needed one less assist because you saw his stats earlier on. He was like 11, 10, and like 100.
One vote diff with mid AD carry. That's perfect. Perfect votes.
Yep, I like it. I almost Satabbed actually. That could have pushed it over the line, but I think that this is justice being served right here.
I'm glad. Sometimes, you know, I tell you my vote, and you're like, Chronic, my man, what are you doing?
Well, sometimes you hipster it, but like this was based. This was it. And I don't say hipster it like that's a bad thing. It's just
I get it.
Sometimes that's a bit of a Chronic thing that I can't side with.
Yeah, no, I do think sometimes I try to get a little bit too 5-head for my own good. But in this case, I'm happy Plata gets it. If it would have been Satep, played a wonderful game on Nico. Perfect KDA until the end. Couple of extremely high impact flanks.
Definitely no Yundo Keck W for the Satep vote.
No, absolutely not. And as mentioned, Dokdam playing an impactful game of Ezreal. That's hard. Okay, that's not an easy thing.
And it didn't look like I haven't seen too many Ezreals that have actually figured too much out. Even the ones that win.
Why TPM stats on it's challengers.
It's
challengers.
We like to put
like
some
stats.
Also, what does the CC score stat even mean? Sometimes it says 3,000, sometimes it says 5, and we don't necessarily know what that means. Maybe it's a rating out of a number that is not specified that changes every single time.
We can't possibly know.
And if we could comprehend it, then maybe we'd be working for NASA. You know, I think that perhaps there'd be different prospects on the horizon for us, such as taking a short break before we're back for match point for DRX. We'll see you there. G'day everyone and welcome back to LCK Challenger Playoffs. It is 2023, it is summer, and we're here for match point. DRX up 2-0 in the series. So many 3-1 predictors, kind of nervous at this point in time because it's looking like a 3-zip.
I'm a 3-2 predictor. Yeah, I have a tough time imagining it happening.
Yeah,
It is. I'm an exclusively 3-0 or 3-2 predictor. It's going to be my entire. I'm already telling you my entire Challengers predictions.
Oh, I need to talk to my friend Last Shadow about that. He's going to be so proud of you.
It's
So
only
proud.
3-0 or 3-2.
Because like 3-1ers, that is called
I
on
do
the fence.
no.
You don't,
I'm
you don't
not.
live your life
No,
on
we're
the
not.
fence.
No, we
That's
don't
not how
shame.
that's
We
not how it
don't
goes.
shame 3-1ers. There's perfectly.
I am a 3-1er.
No.
I'm
I
a
know.
3-1er. I regret the choice.
No, but I don't like the haha 3-1 Andy. No, I think it's fine. But for me, being reminded, there's either one team is better and they 3-0 or it's a slugfest in
And
Challengers.
side selection is the winner.
Sure. Were there
That's how it
3-0
works out.
Preds? No one predicted 3-0.
No.
And let's we might be getting ahead of ourselves. Reverse sweeps are rare, but not impossible.
Very true. Improbable does not mean it cannot happen.
Do I think it's going to happen?
No.
No.
Because now KT have tried both sides and failed pretty colossally on both of them. They have also missed 2 flips on Barons in a row. The second one being the most sad because it wasn't even a smite. It was a mistimed smite and a Q from Dr. that happened on the same frame.
Yeah, which is still unreal that happened.
That's a bit of a shame. So maybe they could have luck on their side. Maybe Lady Fate will be a little bit better to them. But of course, Fate sides with DRX. That's his team.
Yeah. It's not in his league. Couldn't you have said Frog sides with DRX?
I don't think that means Fate.
No, it doesn't. We can make it. It's Challengers. We make our own rules, Atlas.
And I just made the rule that I'm going to include the LCK team when I'm talking about DRX. That's the rule that I made because I can make my own rules.
I just got Atlas so badly.
Not the AtLogic again. No one needs that.
AtLogic?
Yeah.
In my League of Legends?
AtLogic is actually an oxymoron, everyone, for those playing at home. Look at this based Sponge fan in the audience here.
They know.
Yeah.
Oh, you can be that Sponge fan that when he gets pulled up to the LCK and everyone's like, oh my god, this guy's named Sponge. Like, I was there.
Yeah.
When he won his first playoffs. I was a Sponge lever very early on.
Exactly. When Sponge is holding up the World's Trophy, you can say, I was there. I watched him while he crushed KT.
I am already like worried for the emotional damage it's going to do to me when I'm going to see a Challengers player win Worlds. And like, it's very likely that it will happen.
Yeah.
And it won't be, it doesn't have to be on LCK, obviously. It can be on LPL as well, but just given the level of some of these players and how successful they've been this year in the LCK as well, would not be shocking.
KT fan just wishing for the reverse sweep. We'll see whether that actually does come true. I wonder when this was written.
Loss, win, win.
Yeah, because maybe just like they hadn't written in the loss part yet. And then after game 1, they just add that in, add the first loss, and they're like, loss, win, 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 easy peasy, guys.
Not
and
even
then they
close.
had to add the next one. They're like, oh, Monka W, oh dear. Oh, we'll just have to see how it goes. As KT are going to remain on the blue side, they are going to continue banning away the Poppy, but the Nocturne has been taken away from Sponge, and I think that is a great adaptation.
Very good call. That Nocturne was a large part of what made the game very hard to play. Also meant that the Azir was struggling a lot more because playing Azir into Nocturne just doesn't feel that great because he can spell shield your ultimate.
Oh, the Rakan, fantastic too. Kai's
It is a
be the first
good
pick.
adaptation. I really like this from KT. Think this is definitely a warranted. Now, DRX...
Jace Maokai.
Yeah, Jace Maokai is an option. I would also not be shocked if they go for Xayah... Xayah Azir. I'm a Jace Maokai enjoyer. At the very least, Maokai.
I think Maokai
Jace
needs to be picked up. I think hold the flex and then probably wait to see if Feisty's going to pick the Azir again.
Crocodile time?
I think if it's a Maokai and then Renekton, then you can Yone it.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that because Yone into Azir has been a matchup pretty navigatable for the Yone in recent times. Setab doesn't necessarily strike me as a player that really would resonate with the Yone, so instead it will just be the Maokai Jace, as I mentioned before.
It's hard because I've also seen some Setab Akali games, and he gets that champion on a very fundamental level. Yeah. But I do think Yone is one of the champions where either you pick him no matter what in situations where Azir is picked, which, by the way, big pivot here from KT. Want to highlight that as well.
Yeah.
As we have the poke and kite back comp from DRX against what is looking to be a full-sended mega dive composition here from KT.
And that's going to be some different shorts that they're going to be wearing in this one. Kind of like it a lot. Feisty taking a bit of a walk away from the Azir train. Still, Xayah comes in for Doctarm. We've seen Xayah be kind of underwhelming so far this series in the hands of Hype. Doctarm has played it the most this season. Kind of interesting is the fact that at the beginning of the season when it was Zeri, 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 that was Pleta playing. And since DRX switched over, there has been 0 Zeri games for Doctarm. Just doesn't really enjoy it. And is now on his 10th game of Xayah.
And would not be surprised to see the Nautilus and Rel just banned here again. And keep the support for last pick, right? You can just go and handshake the K'Sante Renekton matchup again.
Yeah.
Jax has not really been high prio. I wouldn't mind Jax here. I like a side lane threat when you have a poke on position to just apply some additional pressure.
Me too.
But I'm pretty sure it's just going to be R4 Renekton here 100% if it's not banned away.
Yeah, I think if you don't have that much engage, then having a side lane threat is extremely important because you can sort of force the hand of your opposition instead of having to start the fight yourself. KT, what are they going to ban away? Maybe it is just Renekton ban. That feels bad, doesn't it? Because then you can just get jaxed. Kind of tough here. 7 seconds to go. KT thinking about exactly what they want to remove. And we have to remember that this Maokai is also flexible, right? So we might have a last pick jungle that could come in. So I would expect Renekton or just something pretty solid towards that top side of the map. And then hold the flex of the Maokai, see what you're going to be laning into, and pick accordingly. A lot of flexibility here for DRX in this draft. Kind of a sign of a pretty good drafting phase so far.
Chronicle, what's your favorite snack? Either stroopwafels or kruidnoten. So Renekton does get picked up, unsurprisingly. It's also like Renekton getting picked up. Obviously perfect and go Jax, but we've seen the Jax be pretty low prio here in this series. And they also banned Rumble themselves, which does make sense. I think Maokai Rumble is really good. So
Perfect has been really good at Rumble, though.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a shame that they don't have that to fall back to.
Yeah, it's going to be with Leona here as well. You know what? I would love a Braum.
Is it the Braum angle? Ooh, the crank.
Yeah, can't blind the crank. Because KT have no choice. Obviously, the Xayah gives you some poke, but I do think that DRX with the Jace as well as the Maokai have a lot. Their zone control is a lot better. I think the setup for poke is a lot easier for them, and everyone else on KT is very short range. Oh,
whoa!
That's a
okay.
Disgusting Renata angle.
My God, you see the Nico, you get out the ultimate. Oh man. Okay, well I'm kind of interested in how this one's going to work.
It's also Doctarm has played with one of the best Renatas that we had in the LCK in Kalin, and now gets a do-over. You can also, cancel Leona, trying to engage onto your backline. Kai'Sa doesn't really have a way outside of ulting of dealing with the ultimate, and everyone on KT is going to be forced to dive onto this DRX backline. I've been loving the draft from DRX again here on red side.
Yeah, they've done another one, and this is a very different flavor of draft as well, but I do feel like they have worked it out. Some counter poke as well in the Jace. Something that I am interested in is whether the Jace is going to find a decent level of success. We've seen Jaces be really up and down in not only Challenge, but also in the LCK. But we'll just have to see whether DRX can close out this series with a very different draft this time around. The Renata Glask does feel like an ace in the hole. And Frog back on his Renekton once again, but this time he's into the Gnar, something that Perfect has played before and pretty well, if I can remember. And Feisty is off the Azir. Humbuck back on the Vi, but we're happy to see that. Humbuck has looked middling on other champions. The Vi was all right in the last game, but now we'll have a lot more follow-up for anything that he is going to be thrown down.
I think Maokai is just so OP, man. Like, Maokai and Renata just looks incredibly fun for me to play if you're any short-range character. We'll see how much heavy lifting can be done by Hype. I do think the Kai'Sa could be answer for KT to get a win here nonetheless.
Yep, I like the aggression, you know?
Yeah, but given how the last two games played out, DRX, they kind of flipped the side. There are the defenders. Can they pull it off?
We'll have to see. Let's jump out of the rift. We're sorry for interrupting the fan chants, but we're also not sorry for interrupting the fan chants. The doo-doo-doo-doos must go on. That is how it goes.
The doo-doo-doos must flow.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
Oh, you looking forward to part 2?
Yes, a lot. Although if it gets delayed, you know, that's fine as well.
As long as they're delaying it so that they can make sure that it's the best that it can be, and of course,
it's ready. Yeah, that's actually it's just because of that, which I think is perfectly valid, and of course I'm a big supporter. As the futures market again here for Sponge, Satep also a Gathering Stormer, which I do appreciate a lot. No Scorch, silly business.
None of that.
Putting an apple ring inside of a strobe. So the thing with strobe waffles is they don't really need more. You know, like trying to add more sugar or like that doesn't really... They have enough. They're a perfect snack as they are. It's really hard to improve upon them because a lot of the enjoyment comes from the simplicity of it as well.
I completely understand.
Yeah, you've had strobe waffles.
I think I might have.
Strobe waffles. The
strobe raffle, right?
The Stroopy thing.
I don't think I ever had one.
You really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sure we can get them. I
can't eat them now.
Well, right now you can't, but you know, in a month or two you can.
Oh, don't know about that. I might be ketoing for the rest of my life.
Well,
it's working out very well so far.
No, I mean, if you do, then I of course fully support that.
No, I definitely.
Okay, well then I can eventually.
No way that I'm just not eating pizza ever again for the rest of my life.
Yeah, well then eventually I can get you a strobe waffle, so it'll be fine. We'll get it done.
Thanks, Laura. I'm looking forward to getting some strobe raffles, as I was taught how to pronounce it, and strobe raffle in my Australian accent seems to be the closest thing I can
You do
get.
really well. I'm very proud of you.
Yep. I'm allowed a cheat day if it's for cultural purposes, yes.
Dutch culture.
I do take cheat days for Korean cultural purposes all the time, don't you worry. Satab is, doing a bit of the Jace thing here in the mid lane. Feisty getting aggressive, but thankfully no cancellation of the back, and Satab going to be able to get his health back and teleport into lane without missing out on too much. If he takes even more damage, that's how things can go a little bit awry.
Yeah, trades now are very, very high risk for Satab because he already used his teleport, so any trade that Feisty can get will actually be favorable towards him because he will be able to go back. Also, do know Plata has gone for the tank support item here as opposed to going for the which you often see on enchanters, right? The I remember, you know, the wand, the auto attack wand. So the support item. Yeah, I don't know why I'm blanking on the name.
So am I, actually.
It turns into Frostfang.
Yeah, you just say
Shard
Frostfang.
Shard of Ice?
Shard of True Ice, right?
I think it's Shard of True Ice. Anyway, no, Radic Shield is the one that
they have.
Vlada has now. Yeah.
Is it Shard of True Ice, or is that a trinket in World of Warcraft?
I think that's
very confused.
the
I don't
second
talk
one.
about support items almost ever.
Spell Thieves, there you go.
Spell Thieves, oh my god.
But it does turn eventually into that.
we
Hey,
fail?
look, Vlada knows how to play the champion. Good for him.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
We kind of assumed that he probably did, but it's good to have confirmation.
And we will have the bot lane early, looking not too bad. Also do know Plata has gone for the heal if you need another confirmation that they are not playing for the lane. but trying to play, make sure that they get to the mid to late game and can then just start firing off shock blasts, setting up around objectives.
Yeah. So far, it's going just fine for KT, though. I've really been impressed with how Feisty has played out this lane. He's had a rough time so far on a champion that he's been very confident on in the past, and that can be worrying, as Satab is now going to enlist his jungler, try and help him deal with this minion wave. And as you can see, already, Bolt Breaker does come through there from Humbug. They're going to have to try and get another Bramble Smash, and they do manage to get it. As Humbug takes a fair bit of damage. Feisty looking for the kill onto Sponge. They get the flash out, though. Can't risk being bloomingly bursted.
Really big win there in the 2v2 here, forcing the flash out of Sponge. And KT showing some signs of life here in this game. Dokdom is going to find the pullback onto Wei, but Humbug even going to start up the Dragoneer. Vi does have great damage. If you get spotted, though, should not be allowed to get away with this. But the fact that Satab can't join might be enough. Feisty still has his teleport as well.
Yeah,
we'll
and I don't think
they know.
Oh, Sponge is moving down. This, oh wow, that was
very
well
close.
timed. Well timed there by Humbug.
Could have backfired immensely. Doesn't gonna end up mattering too much, as the early Drake being picked up by KT. Humbug gets out, and Feisty is just trying to full save. It was like, no, that's not how a minion moves.
No, not going to be. Not going to be confused by that one just yet. Satab going to have his back stopped, and he's going to rechannel it there as well. Little bit of a worry here. As Feisty can now shove this wave in, deny even more. As Satab does get home finally, but he's about 2 waves behind on this Jace. Once again, the Jace kind of just looking a bit meh. Which is a bit sad.
Yeah, Nico, we've seen Jace also picked into Nico.
Yeah.
Which I think makes it extra interesting. I think the big thing here for me is the jungle matchup. If you have Sejuani or a Vi yourself, then it completely warps how you can play around. I also think that Jace will remain good into Nico because you can use your disengage onto the Nico ult.
True.
But the early game definitely is rough, and the failed 2v2 really adds a lot of additional pressure here. We have not been talking about top wave, though, and Perfect has kind of accepted that this early game not really going to go his way, and picked up a call, just trying to play as neutral as possible. As Lada is here, Satab does take a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Back in the area.
A little bit of a handshake there, but Shape Splitter going to be pretty good at making sure that Feisty is keeping them on their toes. Had a brief look towards that top lane like you were talking about. Not too much really to report on outside of the fact that Frog is having a pretty decent time. Feisty sends his clone in. Not too much more to report. And so KT, not with that advantage that I thought that they were going to get based on how the mid lane and jungle have been going. Mainly because the other lanes, different story here. Frog with the lead, and Dokdom goes back with a wave advantage. And we'll be able to get back down here with some Berserker's Greaves, a couple of swords, and feeling pretty good with the CS lead that he has.
Might have a contest here. Yeah, Humbug has to disengage because Dokdom did get prior on bot side. I think DRX should be able to set this up. Frog might get engaged on, but he's very respectful here.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have maybe tried to make a play on him, though, with double flash and ults available. Meganar as well, as there is no hype here. Do keep that in mind. This is a 5 versus 4.
I'm the play-by-play. Perhaps there will be a little bit of hype if a fight does break out. We'll just have to see. The answer is there's not.
No.
So you're right. There is no hype. There's no hype and no hype.
Double no hype.
Not very much hype.
0 hype.
Well, there's hype here.
He's in the lane. He's getting a play.
Found the hype.
Might even get a second play. This is a cannon wave.
Hey, true. There we go. Dokdom making his way over, but not going to get there in time. Although, not going to stick around to try and get the extra damage. So the next plate is prepared. He's got 5 minutes before that one is going to fall down. So some opportunities here as Wei is going to show up as well. Make sure that this Kaiser is going to be A-OK. Dokdom getting a little bit frisky. Too much to worry about here as he does manage to get the Root Caller or the Blade Caller. The fact that Ivern is a champion again means that Blade Caller, Root Caller is just, yeah, it's kind of breaking my brain.
It's the same neural pathway in your brain.
Yeah, they just, yeah. Frog is going to get Nard. And Perfect is going to say that that'll do.
It's like, whatever, bro. Just... Are you done?
Doesn't seem too affected by it, does he?
No.
Ooh, is that just a plate? Ooh, we'll see. No, it's just going to be damage onto Hype here for Doctor.
Spacing from Doctor there. Nice.
Looking clean. Of course, we always did praise Doctor for his ability to play Aphelios. I know Dracos is a huge Aphelios enjoyer and was, I believe it was Worlds last year, was a massive Doctor enjoyer.
Understandably. Oh, he wants to be in range.
Yeah, this plate might just be denied, and it is.
Away with the BM thumbs up. I love it.
That's what you need to be. When you're down 0-2, any BM opportunity,
everything you
got to
do.
go for it. That's how it works. Deluxe apples
no.
strobe raffle?
No. No, that's not. That's too much.
Ice cream and hot fudge.
That's too much.
Good.
We don't. We're Dutch. We're a simple people. You know, we're not about that extravagant lifestyle. Didn't Dr. go to Worlds? He did, yeah. No, not really.
That's what I just mentioned, wasn't it? Hot potato heart.
You did. Yeah.
Nice. There we go. We're on the same page. BM as in bowel movement. Don't think so. I don't know whether it was a digestion thing.
BM
it was
stands
an emote thing.
Yeah, stands for bad manner.
It does.
Which is not actually means that you have bad manners, but that you're just trying to, you know, tilt your opponent. And not tilt as in trying to offset your opponent's
axis
relation to to whatever axis you might want.
Cool. Perfect. Will find a boomerang, and Frog will find himself in a little bit of trouble. There's a Mega Gnar angle here. Is Perfect not going to be able to get a hop in, and the back does come through. So, no Boulder Toss to come down. Perfect going to be able to nail the wave, and that should deny this entire one from Frog, who's now making his way back towards that top lane. Solo lane's actually being dealt with quite nicely by KT, as we're going to have a Rift Herald charge and potentially a battle as Twisted Advance comes forward. But Wage is kind of standing there, being menacing, as Feisty is going to get chased down by Satab, who's looking a lot stronger than he was before. Pop Blossom going to go wide. Satab just sidesteps it very, very well. Shock Blast going to go wide there also, but it is going to be an equalization of the Dragons. Looking like a slight resurgence of DRX in this game.
I don't know if they got the charge just based on the gold, but they do get the Drake, which is quite big. Did get the charge in the end. It looks like 2 plates down here.
Yeah.
Gold probably only went to Sponge. It is another mountain. And this time, it's the same. KT loves it because I think the DRX composition also struggles to actually get through, and they have a very one-sided damage profile. So if you stack armor with a mountain, big thumbs up. And for DRX, if KT can't dive your backline and kill them, then you just kind of win the game.
Yeah, it feels like if Docdom gets a Mountain Soul, that's a lot. It's a lot of survivability for Xayah.
Sponge as well.
Yeah, overall. In fact, everyone having access to that going to be pretty valuable. Bledder is going to be very squishy this game, so any sort of added survivability will be good. So far, it is just kind of business as usual from what it feels like. And we do have a Vault Breaker being charged. There is the snare. Cease and Desist comes down. Solar Flare's in as well. Satab, no real opportunity as Humbug is going to be able to flash his way out. Sponge gets a bit of a Bramble Smash onto Wave, but I don't think they're going to be able to lock him up. And DRX just lose their mid laner, and that is first blood here at 13 minutes into the game.
Epitome of just play safe mid, lol. Very nicely done there by KT. Good CC chain. Humbug over the wall. Gets Satab stationary, and then from there it is a very easy setup. Root starts from Feisty, and then CC chain just kind of plays itself. Both big AoE ultimates will not be hitting the mark. Sponge will CC some people, but not in range of the turret. They get a flash from Humbug, but that is about it. So great trade there for KT.
Yeah, really nicely done. It's going to put them ahead by about 1,000 gold, a little bit more than that. Here towards the bottom side, Doctime is charge enough. Looking for that second item. Does have his Kraken Slayer done, but there is also Hype's Static Shiv. And so these waves are going to start evaporating. Moving towards top side of the map as we've got 17 seconds left on Shirley, making her way out. Shape Splitter coming through from Feisty, being annoying. Does turn into that melee minion. Finds the snare as well into Satab. Bit of extra poke damage does come through. He's not going to be too worried. So now we've got Frog being aggressed on. There is the Vault Breaker. Flash comes out from Frog. It's now Sponge looking for his opportunity, but Wei is in position. That is going to deny any sort of re-engage.
5v5? Frog has TP.
He does.
Ooh, second Herald fight to decide who wins the game.
So there's no flash on Frog or Pleta.
There's also no
flash
Mega
on
Gnar.
Hambuk, and yeah, you're right. The Gnar bar is in a little bit of an awkward spot. So
Longer the stakes, the better for DRX.
yeah, Void Seeker going to find Sponge there as well. The amount of funny business from Feisty is going to be important in this team fight. Returo getting taken down to about 5k. And into the pit goes the Crocodile. Will he be all right, though, as Perfect has found him in the back of that pit. There's the Nature's Grasp as they look for Wei. There it is. The Pop Blossom comes down, and Sponge is in trouble. He is going to get the bailout, but I don't think he's going to be able to proc it, and there he goes. That is also Doctarm falling, and KT, they've come back alive in this series. Frog just trying to get the heck out of here. Doesn't have Flash, remember, and he might be able to slice, but he doesn't have it off cooldown. So KT wiped the floor with DRX.
Only thing DRX get there is the Herald, and you're not gonna be happy paying that price. Big thing there, Perfect actually doing a lot of heavy lifting in the fight, and a little bit disjointed. Do look DRX in this. They are trying to go for the fight here. We do see Optimus hesitation, but then the moment Feisty throws his ult down, the rest can't follow. The Renata ult doesn't actually hit the mark at all. And if the reset comes through on Sponge with the bailout, maybe that'll be enough. Not going to be the case. They don't actually find any of the kill. All the health bars low here for KT. And the target selection very off there from DRX. KT played out extremely nicely. And now we're sitting on a sizable gold lead. Bot lane turret picked up as well. And this might not be a 3-0 after all, Atlas.
Yeah, it's looking a little bit too one-y at this point in time. 3,000, close to 4,000 gold. The advantage right now for KT. Not over till it's over, of course. But I don't know about the comeback mechanics for this particular composition. Duskblade is done for Satab. But DRX, I mean, they're watching as a lot of their turrets are under threat. You can see in the bottom lane, this inner turret. Perfect is getting right over there and does have his Trinity Force done now already. So this, legitimate side lane threat. Frog gonna have to turn up. We'll be able to at least get that wave pushed back. It's gonna take him some time though. This Perfect will discover him, so he's not actually able to get over to that minion wave. There's a Pop Blossom, does manage to find Doctarm here as the Nature's Grasp does come through. Hambuk gonna have to get out. Shock Blast going to be connecting here onto KT as well, as Perfect is just looking for Frog. Doesn't quite get him, but Doctarm's gonna have to go home. And so this is just KT winning yet another exchange.
Very favorable trader for KT, because even though they get the ult from Feisty, if needed be, could even teleport back. Not even the case. Satab and Doctarm, neither of which are looking to be in a position to contest. It's going to be the Drake going over to KT, and yeah, I do think that once you fall behind with the DRX comp, even definitely a lot of angles, but it becomes very hard to play out. You're looking at like late game, where maybe Doctarm can get some big plays going on the Xayah. How the game has been accelerated by KT thus far, that is not looking super likely.
No, it's not really the way. Cease and Desist is going to come down onto Frog here. He does have the Dominus. Gets a stun, but look at the damage. That is Perfect, locking that one up easily.
Is it the free one Andy?
Well,
reign supreme? Is it the
or
reverse
is it the
sweep?
3-2 Shy New situation? Could be.
Well, I'm a 3-2 DRX predictor, so I'm perfectly fine with this.
But the reverse sweep.
Development.
The reverse
Actually,
sweep.
reverse sweeping is still really hard, though. It happens a lot more often than you would think. That teams like win two and then lose the last one.
Yeah, winning two and then losing the last one, though, is much less common, like you say. So, Nature's Grasp going to come forward. That's a handshake to pull way back. Not going to be able to get too much, and Perfect is here in the bottom lane.
That's actually the one I think that happens a lot more.
Yeah, the reverse sweep. Yeah.
No, not reverse sweep.
Winning game 5, if you won the more recent 2.
No. That's what you would think. But actually, it's a reverse. We've seen this at Worlds a lot as well, where like the last reverse sweep, up until EDG versus a DRX, was in like 2019.
Really?
Yeah, or 2020. It was the top
they
esports.
were very common.
It was the top esports sweep.
It really does feel like if you get to the game 5 and you've won the last 2, momentum is so far in your favor that you should be able to win.
Yeah,
the last one.
that's what I feel like as well. But I remember looking into this, and then it almost denied. Nice
26.
attempt from Feisty. Yeah, it's a 5k gold lead. KT are stacking dragons, and it is challengers, so anything is possible. But this game is not looking too hot for DRX.
Maybe the Hail Mary Baron angle is going to have to come through here for DRX, but they don't have a massive amount of Baron damage. Still waiting for 2 items to be finished for Doctarm. Frog not exactly going to be scaling in this game, as he is a Renekton. Yes, he does have scales, but getting towards the late game and being effective is going to be a tough ask for a Renekton that is struggling in this matchup against Perfect 0-2-0 as well. It is not great news for DRX fans. Well, I mean, it is kind of still good news because they're 2-0 and they'll have match point for the next 3 games, but a toughie.
Yeah, this individual game definitely looking rough. We do see that Hype also sitting at 2 items now. And KT, the adaptations in draft in this game, really again have to give them credit for the Nocturne ban, the Rakan ban working out a whole lot better.
Oh yeah.
Here in the 3rd game, and for DRX to come back, yeah, I'm looking at Doctarm getting quick blades at the very least, but ideally you'd be wanting Lord Doms as well, right? You really need as much as you can get, and that is what, 10-15 minutes away. I don't think you're going to get that far.
Yeah, I don't know whether that is going to be on the cards in this particular game. Still holds on to that slight CS advantage, as he's going to look to continue holding that. Satab, yeah, bone plating is down. Woohoo! Sponge standing on top of this blast cone. Actually going to Twisted Advance on top of Hungbuck. Brings both of them back. Hungbuck potentially overextended, but Feisty and Wei in the area.
Definitely
so
could have.
Therefore, KT going to be all right.
Could have gone for something, but obviously they don't have perfect vision the way we do it now. A flank.
Yeah, Hungbuck going to get over there as Sponge gets on in. Pletter in trouble though. He's going to try and bail himself out, and it's not going to work. Pop Blossom going to come through. Featherstorm down also as Feisty taking some damage, but they get the ult out of Doctarm, and Feisty is out of there. That is all they wanted. As KT eyes on the prize, the Baron now an opportunity here. There is a control ward in the back of the pit. DRX know exactly what's going on, but without Pletter, it is going to be dangerous. Teleport comes in. Here's the Nature's Grasp.
Sponge doesn't have Smite.
Can they actually do this again, is the question, without Smite? They've done it before as they managed to take down Hungbuck, so no Smites for anyone, actually. Wei getting taken down low, but that is a dead Doctarm. Not a lot of damage remaining, and Hype is going to be able to secure his second for the fight as well. The boulder is going to go completely wide. DRX, they lose way more out of that.
The boulder might not find its target, but we do see that the Baron is... Oh, that's just mean. The Baron is prevented for now. KT, though, they're not really going to care. Yeah, Hungbuck ended up dying there because they don't know that Sponge doesn't have Smite, right? If you do have that knowledge, then you just do this objective, but they are not aware. And with the flash, Hungbuck doesn't find the re-engage, and he's going to take it now. But Doctarm, he doesn't have his ult. So he's just kind of a sitting duck. Also didn't have cleanse after the play that Feisty made on him.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be a big catch.
He is going to be able to kite this one out pretty well, though. Yeah, he's running real quick. The handshake not going to connect there, as now the teleport's coming in from Feisty. Pletter is in so much trouble, and he's just dead. There is just nothing they can do. Cease and Desist comes forward. There's a Solar Flare as well, as they just lock down Doctarm. Where has this KT been all day? Took him a little while to wake up, but here in game number 3, they are looking so much better. Snowballing forward just gloriously. It's 11-1. Like, we're in shellacking territory.
Oh yeah, yeah. This one is very, very over. As the Baron this time, I don't think we're getting the steal. I don't think we're getting anything crazy, and I'm really impressed by Perfect Gnar. And we knew that Hype had a great. Yeah,
that is a problem. I have a feeling that Satab might be dead.
Yeah, no, it's KT Rover.
It's Rover.
I like KT Rover more because it sounds like it could be one of their. Yeah, well, why not?
Yeah, true.
As we take a look at this play, they feel safe because they're underneath their tier 2, and tier 1 isn't down at the beginning. And Dokkan doesn't have a gold, so he just dies. Very straightforward. Really nice 100-0 here. And the Baron now taken, as they just keep on going. They keep on trying. They do have a members advantage right now. Perfect isn't here, but it won't last for very long, and they don't have damage, so I think he's gonna have to... No, with 10k gold down. The Hail Mary fight here from DRX.
They do not want to risk losing another Mountain Drake. As Humbug is going to dive on over, Frog gets on top of him. There's the Nature's Grasp. Frog manages to take out the first kill, as there's a lot of value from this ultimate. The Gnar is just dead. DRX have everyone left alive.
No.
Is this Challengers, baby? Is this...
No.
Surely it's not Challengers, baby.
No Challengers babying. No. Not doing that. Okay. Perfect. I just gave you praise. Don't buy Hullbreaker and then run into multiple people and die, okay? That's not the vibe that I'm going for.
But if he's alone while he runs into multiple people, then
Sponge
he has
is
more
fine.
resistances before he dies.
He can't walk in, though. So they'll get this Drake. Everything is fine. Okay, it's fine. KT, you know, small mistake. Doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
No. And DRX, they did manage to clear out some vision after this. But as we can see, it started off with Humbug sort of just getting caught out by himself, and burst damage being enough here from DRX.
Is it caught out if you're the one instigating it?
Well,
like,
yeah.
I do think he was caught out, but like, it's just an interesting discussion where if you're the one going in and not hitting anything and just going down.
Are you caught out? Well,
Or-
yes. But you just really shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
It's like a more egregious version.
Oh, the trap?
Well, Sponge is going to get E'd on. Teleport to come forward. Okay, hostile takeover comes down. There's the pushback onto Humbug. He's going to try and get himself out with a cease and desist as Killer Instinct into the backline, but Humbug is dead once again. The Duskblade value just kind of massive here, but the bailout not going to work out for them as now Wei is going to get taken out. It's a decent Gnar, but it doesn't find too much value, and now Dokkan is free-hitting. The feathers are flying, Chronicler, as the Blooming Burst. Oh my goodness, Dokkan almost just got eradicated. But they just won a team fight, 8,000 gold down, right?
It's time. That's Challengers, baby!
Oh, it's a little bit too challenging. Okay, here's the Pop Blossom. Does find, and everyone's dead. So it's no longer Challengers. Adult.
Well, or is it? Is this even more challenging?
We're adults now. This is just it's just League of Legends.
It's just
Chronicler.
normal League of Legends.
League of Legends. Chronicler.
It's a League of Legends, a 10k gold deficit here, as we do take a look at this bait that was set up. They don't have a way of actually locking hype down. Plata's ult not been it, unfortunately, in this one.
I think he only altered the wall as well. I don't even think he got
it didn't at all. So Duskblade value is big, and then this is the biggest cardinal sin. This is going to give any D+ fan a flashback as well. Don't chase Xayah into a choke point. And Feisty, Feisty and Hype realize that, and as a result will stay alive there.
Yeah.
For a large amount of time. Try to save the Frog, but the Frog ends up going down, and then this is some peak Challenger here. You'll love to see it. They lose track of Feisty, and then it's like, let's go in. What could go wrong? A lot.
This is also going wrong here. As you can see, Frog does have Dominus, so he's going to use that to help keep himself alive. Core Drinker as well, pretty handy. So DRX hold on to their base, but in 2 minutes' time, it's a 3-stack Mountain Soul. And that's going to make
things, game over.
Yeah, it's feeling a little bit dunzo at that. I mean, it's pretty dunzo right now, but that'd be like extra layers of dunzo, which is subpar. Does open up the angle for the good old Elder Flip. But DRX's composition, I mean, we don't really like its longevity necessarily, nor do we like Perfect's longevity in this particular instance. Does find a decent wallop there, but 1 versus 4, I don't know whether the smart money is on Perfect surviving. Does get a decent Gnar. Frog, does he have the Ruthless Predator? Is he a Ruthless Predator? Can he press W? There it is, and they lock down the kill. Takes him a fair bit of time, but it looks like KT not in position to capitalize.
And KT is, I actually would have loved if they kept him alive for longer there. Because if you stall out his death for like 20 seconds, then you get the next Mountain Drake. Not going to be the case. Does look like Perfect ends up going down. He has Hullbreaker, so he doesn't really die.
Yeah,
until
it took him a long time.
A really long time. Don't be fooled into thinking that DRX's position in this game is better.
No.
Like, I just want to be, again, very upfront about it. They're showing some signs of life, but their opponents are sitting on a lot more items, have full control of the map, and we're about to get into the next Baron, and that Baron should be the end of this game. But the team fighting from DRX has been pretty good, and we do have 3 items on Dokdam.
We have 9 kills on Hype.
Yes, if this was LCK, this game is over. KT wins this 100%.
Yeah.
But
it is challenges infinite. Sounds worse, doesn't it?
yeah, I don't. I think we leave that one in the.
Yeah. It is the tertiary Korean League of Legends League.
It's the
child.
secondary one.
Sorry, secondary. Just wanted to use a different word.
I mean, tertiary does sound pretty dope.
It's a fun word.
It is a fun word. Well, maybe at one point we'll cast Academy as well.
That's true. Maybe there is actually a league above the LCK that we don't even know about. It's not even
I think
public.
that's just Worlds.
No. Within Korea.
Ooh, a secret one?
A secret one.
Oh.
Sort of like if you were to watch like Casino Royale. It's like that poker table that you can only get into if you're like really famous and cool.
He's doing the thing. Perfect's doing the thing. He's split pushing.
He is hull breaking.
so
Frog is going to come out.
Frog,
and
wait.
KT going to back away from Baron. Kind of interesting. They are just going to buy space for Perfect to win this 1v1 while he takes down an inhibitor. Second back going to come through, and I actually think that maybe just leave Frog here and try to survive because KT straight back on the purple worm. Jace going to turn up. He does have teleport available. They can just try and close in onto Perfect here. But as we can see, KT going to kind of get caught in this pit. It's an interesting move, but there's the pop blossom into the backline. The Renata is going to go down, but Feisty, he's going to go golden immediately afterwards. Goodbye, Dokdam. Feisty going to go down low, but it's not going to be enough to actually grab the kill. A double here as Hype is going to make it 10-0. My good, 11-0, I tell a lie. Frog underneath the Nexus turret, still not feeling too safe. And KT, they're going to take this Baron. I have a feeling they're going to finish this game.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident that that will in fact be the killing blow. DRX are still clinging on. Perfect 1v2 this.
Yeah, I
don't think it's that close.
I don't know whether their hulls are going to survive because that Naren... Oh, that was beautifully played there by Perfect. And why hasn't he been playing Gnar this whole series? I have no idea. But now that he's started, I have a feeling the series looks a bit better.
Might be the case. Certainly though, KT, I don't know why the game isn't over because this is...
Don't ever say it's over.
Now I do. Now I know why it's not over. Perfect. I wanted to vote for you for POG. Like I really did, but I can't justify it. Okay? Can't be done.
Perfect?
Can't do it.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
who else do you vote for? I guess it has to be Hype. Do you have to boom it? I'm still voting for Perfect.
I think I'm going Feisty, man.
You're a Feisty man?
The Nico Ultimates?
I guess he is 2-0-10 as well.
Nico, early laning phase, started like booming Satap very hard.
I just kind of feel like Perfect has been doing more stuff.
Yeah, but
I
also...
like the amount of doing stuff.
He has been doing a lot of stuff, but he's also been doing a lot of keeping the game kind of going.
What is it, chat? What's the vote, chat? Please tell me.
Outsourcing it?
Yeah, I'm going to outsource it. I'm phoning a friend. I'm using a lifeline for this one. Just let us know.
Phone a friend.
Give into your denial, vote for Perfect. Be the media vote for CL today. Oh, Erky Timbers. That's what I needed to hear.
Waypog. Oh, that's...
Waypog.
That's based.
Ezekiel. My goodness.
Crazy.
Well, Perfect is just going to move towards this top lane, try and get his whole breaker to work out. Really just not doing anything.
No, Satap doesn't have Cyrildas, and they have Mountain Soul. KT, yeah, you don't need more.
No, I would just
end
walk
it
forward and win if I were you. But that is not what they're going to do. They're going to continue trying to land some poke and get these super minions towards these turrets. Frog taking a lot of damage. Boulder Toss flying forward. Perfect has about 1 billion health. And now Sponge throws down the ult. The answer is take it. And then continue sieging. That was one of the least eventful Nature's Grasps I've seen in quite some time, as now they're going to dive on in. Frog gonna get stunned up, but will survive for the moment. Still, these health bars aren't gonna last forever. And DRX just getting whittled down slowly but surely. It looks frustrating here for the squad, who managed to win 2 games in this series already, but right now look completely helpless. Look, Perfect does take most of his health bar. You have to be a little bit careful. Second Nexus turret still standing. Frog barely doing the same thing as Blade Caller on a Humbug. Okay. Okay, Doctor, we see you. He has got those 3 items. You did mention that time where he'd have the Lord Doms. That is now, but it may just, it could potentially be too late.
What is happening?
I don't know. They just really, they've stopped.
KT!
KT malfunction. KT malfunction. The game must be concluded via the Nexus exploding, KT. Someone must tell them.
You forgot something. There's a Nexus.
Okay, Oba indeed.
They
really
don't want to lose this game.
Nico's saying Oba all the time, but it's not over.
It's not Oba.
It's not Oba at all. It is in fact continuing, but
I don't think it should.
no, it really shouldn't. There aren't very many inhibitors left.
If KT find a way to lose this game, that is the most challenger things that will have ever happened.
If they find a way to lose this game, I don't think that they're going to be able to play another game again in 2023.
Wow, that is accurate. That is true. Neither of these teams have any line of defense against elimination.
Yeah.
They are not in the double alien bracket. They do have double super waves, so maybe just use those.
Yeah, I have a feeling Winions may play a part. As Killer Instinct comes down, that's going to be traded for the Featherstorm. Good flash there from both Hype and Doctorm. Doctorm going for it.
That should be it.
Kind of appreciate it, as this Nexus turret still up. Nature's Grasp back off cooldown yet again, as there's the Pop Blossom we've been looking for. Goodbye, Platter. Satab gets on top of Hype, but he is going to be shock blasting from the grave. The Nexus turret will fall. Doctorm survives, but he's now on the fountain with not a whole lot that he can do. The Nexus will finally go down, and KT, they will win a game in this series and bring us to a 4th.
Slow and steady wins the race, Atlas.
It certainly did in that case.
They were really good and very proactive for like 30, 35, 32 minutes of this game. And then, then some shenanigans ensued, but it never felt like KT were in any risk of losing the game. As we can see, they got to like a 7K gold lead by 25 minutes,
yeah.
And then they just tacked on another 10.
Yep. I felt like they didn't need 14,000 gold to win that game. However, they got 14,000 gold ahead of their opposition, and then they won the game. So you can't fault them if it works, you know? Sponge did a lot of damage. Quite interesting there, but it was mainly the story of the good old... sorry, I'm going to vote for... I'm doing it. Perfect. Perfect. I think I tried... I didn't type it very well because I used one hand. I had to be a Nah voter in that game.
That's
I
fine.
don't know.
I respect it.
I feel like Feisty did find some angles there. But maybe I'm just a bit jaded towards the Nico brokenness factor.
Whenever I vote for top, I think Wood Hooney approved this vote. And I think in this case, he built Hillbreaker, and he went to side lane, and he didn't TP to a fight.
There we go.
And he died a bunch of times.
He had some, he had some really clean plays as well. The early game looked a little bit rough, but was able to play it out very, very nicely.
I
feel like the Feisty vote is probably what's going to come through.
Pop Blossom voter.
Yeah.
I mean, no, the actual vote it's going to be high.
Oh god, it better not be the boom boom vote.
Well,
Oh, maybe I should have Feistied as well, just to make sure that I combat the... Oh no, not the hype vote. Surely it's not. No, it's not. It can't be.
No,
there's no way.
No, they wouldn't
Absolutely
do that.
no way.
Absolutely not.
If it is hype, it is probably my fault, and I will accept the consequences.
What are the consequences?
I don't know. I will accept them though, whatever they are. And it is Feisty. There we go. 3-0-13 on the Nico, and 205% damage for gold. That is very impressive.
the intense man in the mid lane gets a matchup that works a lot better. And KT actually pivoting away from the draft, learning from the first 2 games, crawled their way back into this series, bringing it 2-1. In a large part, I think, was the team fighting of the man right here. A lot of really, really big Nico ultimates, showcasing why this champion is so insanely highly prioritized throughout the entirety. And now we've gotten to so many broken champions that she often makes it through.
Yeah.
I don't think she should.
I don't think she will. I have a feeling with the fact that KT now have to move towards the red side, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for them to find a draft like this. I also just really hope that teams stop picking Jace Maokai as if it's good, because it's not. It's just bad. It just doesn't win.
I'm not.
I understand it, right? I understand it, but it doesn't win. Stop picking it.
I'm not a Jace Maokai anti, but I do think you cannot blind it.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Stop thinking that it's a winning combination.
It's not blindable. And I also think that a large part of this came down to the early laning phase where Hambach and Feisty got the early leads. Because Jace Maokai is really good when you're ahead, extremely oppressive, but that just wasn't the case.
It was not, but now it is time for us to take a short break. When we get back, another match point for DRX and a chance to get to Silver Scrapes. G'day everyone and welcome back to LCK Challenger Playoffs. It's 2023, it is summer, and it is once again match point for DRX. And I'm hit with a conundrum. Chad has brought up the fact that we could be cringe if this isn't a KT win here and we don't go the distance to full 5 games. But I also predicted a 3-1, and it would kind of be nice to be correct. Because I got Comic Sans.
So...
You know,
what is more likely, that you and I will go out of seemingly nowhere again into the maximum amount of games possible, or your prediction is correct?
Well, based on this season, I'd say that strap yourself in. You know, strap yourself in. Shy has got this. It is the 3-2 KT.
I stand by my 3-2 DRX, but I do think that. That we might be going to a game number 5.
We could be. That being said, we are now allowing DRX to move to the blue side if they would like it. They can try to avoid, you know, the issues of the last couple of games. But KT may have also found a bit of an ace in the hole here by denying Sponge the Nocturne. These Nocturne compositions working out very, very well into KT. And it might be that if KT remove that, there may not be as many avenues for victory as DRX have been able to find prior to this. That is the danger that we're looking towards if you are a DRX fan. DRX still did look like they had some good moments there, though, and I think if the Maokai Jace can be avoided, for goodness sake, then that could be good.
I do think, and I've been saying this a lot, because it just feels like that's just the state of the current meta game.
Are you okay?
No, my jacket looks weird. I'm very, very peculiar, but we fix it.
Are you peculiar? I mean, yes, we know that.
I am also, that's also known, yeah. So the main thing that I'm wondering about as we go into this this next game is who's going to win mid jungle? Because every single game, whoever wins mid jungle wins the game. Because mid jungle gets you objectives, it gets your bot lane prio. This is no longer the bot lane meta where, like, we've seen bot lanes actually get like 1 or 2 kills, and the lane is still playable, and people are still fine, and you can farm and you can be okay. This is a very far off, as there we have another adjusted side. Love to see it.
3-1, please. So 3-1 is fine. Yes.
Just pick. Don't overcomplicate. Just pick for mid jungle 2v2. That's it. That's if you win that, I think you're winning the series. I think that it's been Sponge or Satap for 2 out of the 3 games. And the last one, it was also very obviously the Humbug and Feisty show.
Yeah.
And when we go back to some of the POGs, we had 2 from mid laners. Wonder what's up with that.
It is super weird. Mainly because I voted for Castle. Sorry, for Perfect in the last game. Castle hasn't been playing. He hasn't played for a while. He only played 5 games, so I don't know what I'm talking about here.
You like Mario?
I like Mario. Maybe. I like.
It's always in another castle.
She is in another castle. That is often what happens. This really is the most relaxing way to end a Monday. Oh,
nice.
Aussie Girl Gamer, thank you very much for such a lovely comment. And yeah, well, maybe it will extend through another game in this series. If KT can bring us to that Silver Scrapes, we'll get to like enjoy that beautiful track as well as the J span comes in. DRX are like, we're done with it. You love to see it. There is the Nocturne as well. We're gonna have some different drafts here.
It fixes the issue, and I think that it might also be just respect toward Feisty, because I think DRX have been banning Jason every single game where they haven't played him. Vi also, okay, so DRX are also saying, hey, we identified that last game, Humbug is a little bit too comfortable, able to do really well in the 2v2. We don't want to pick the Jace early. It's probably just the Kai'Sa angle. That's what it's looking towards here.
Or a Tristana angle, because I think Kai'Sa might be the ban here for KT.
I think they banned Tristana. Tristana's been 100% perma thus far. I think Tristana's just so hard to reliably counter.
True, but they might just, that might be the gamble that they take. And, you know, I guess maybe like better the devil you know. That could be the strategy here, as the Kai'Sa could be the ban away. Sorry, the Tristana could be the ban away. They allow the Kai'Sa to go through. Or they trade. Oh my goodness, this is... I like this gamble a little bit better, making sure that you do get one of those very powerful picks. Could imagine DRX are probably pretty happy to pick up the Trist, though.
I think you always go Trist. I think Kai'Sa has been extremely strong, but we have seen teams get better at dealing with her. As Tristana, to me, is just incredibly versatile. Works in a ton of compositions and doesn't really have any big counters. DRX, though, I think Kai'Sa's the next best thing, so I don't think that this is, you know, the type of draft that makes us go, what are you, what is happening?
I mean, it's the trade, right? Like, you know that you're going to be trading one of these over. Feisty, you're going to be playing the Tristana potentially for the 2nd time so far this season. That's not to say that he wasn't pretty good. He has an 18 KDA on the champion and 100% win rate. As Satap will be locking away the Azir alongside the Poppy. This is what KT decided to try and do in game number 1. We'll see whether it works out better on the other side of things. Satap has been a decent Azir throughout his career, but could be a gamble.
And we'll see. Oh, Viego, that is kind of bringing you towards a very specific style of draft.
Ooh, making me feel like perhaps this is a bot lane Tristana.
Could be. Yeah, because ideally you'd be wanting to look towards an Annie. Also, Tristana Rel, obviously a great combo. We do see the Alistair getting banned. Now, as I mentioned previously, I'm not a big fan of the good old Braum into Rel. The only hard counter pick I'll allow is Janna, because I still think that super busted. Pleda would, you know, he would do it. I think into Rel Viego. Like, I'm kind of loving it. But I'm not kidding myself. That's not what's going to happen.
Yep.
KT's going to ban Alistar and Nautilus maybe. And then Plata... Oh, no, it's going to ban Rakan.
Has to be Rakan.
So Plata's going to end up playing Nautilus. And...
Unless Hype is going to lock that one in for Wei, and we somehow manage to
Viego?
top lane Viego.
Top lane
Mid lane Viego?
And then DRX with the Nafiri counter pick, flexing Azir
baby.
to top.
There we go, the good old Birdol special. You love to see it.
They do ban Annie, so they are also like, well, that's a feisty special.
Yeah, Feisty back to full comfort here with the Syndra being locked in. His choice into the Azir. You can get scooped relatively effectively, but does it matter if the Azir is just dead? Because you've pressed R and forced him to suffer the gameplay.
I don't love the Syndra, because I do think Syndra and the Kai'Sa feels really rough, because if you get tagged by one skill, you just die.
Yeah,
and Syndra
it's like
has
better purple lady into the older purple lady.
Syndra really has zero way of dealing with a Kai'Sa, right? Like, outside of specifically Scatter, which is strenuous at best.
You can always
hit that. Yeah, but it's Kai'Sa. She'll kill her instinct on top of you and have like a 1k HP shield.
Yeah, that's a problem. And you also build Zhonya's half the time.
Yeah.
That makes it tougher.
Blind Cassante, never going to be super excited about this, but the Renekton didn't really work out for Frog, and I think this composition can definitely benefit from more frontline. You do have two amazing damage dealers. Might be an 80 Kai'Sa game as well, which I think is worse, but I like more to watch. So that'll be a win. We'll see what Gwen is good. Hasn't
Perfect
really
actually
been...
was one of the original Gwen to Cassante guys.
But I haven't really seen it work that much. And I also think that now the I would have loved a Malphite. I think the Malphite angle here would have been because the one thing that the composition lacks now is reliable frontline, and you're going to be all in on like see it first target, kill target. And I don't think the draft's bad at that. But if I look at the amount of disengage and no buttons that DRX have, I'd be a little worried. There's not a lot of good targets to try and 100-0 on this team.
Yeah, and I feel like you're right about the Syndra. It just feels really out of place.
It is. It's just because Feisty is a great Syndra, right? And like he wants to. This is what he wants to play. But the Gwen Syndra combo doesn't really do it for me. I would have much rather. Like I think with Malphite, it kind of ties the composition together. We know it's good into Cassante, just completely nullifies the matchup. And again, it sets up for what I think the KT composition wants to do. Now this buys you side lane threat, but against as much hard engage as DRX have, like the Nautilus is such a big thing here for me. Because it means that you can always start a fight. Like Perfect can be off in the side lane, but there is no way for KT to not get engaged on.
Gonna have to try and get these scatters in exactly the places that they want them. We'll see whether Rel can also find the engages that they're looking for. We're gonna have a bit on his shoulders as far as finding these Magnet Storm angles. We were a bit spoiled with some of the Rel engages that we've seen in the LCK so far over the last week. So KT, they could channel some of that and see whether they can bring us to the Silver Scrapes that way. But I do think that DRX have set themselves up with a pretty nice draft. And the pivot after this loss could be that it's just the 3-1 to come through. But KT with some options, Feisty on his favorite champion. See whether it's going to be enough to work out here as we move into game number 4. DRX versus KT Rolster here in Challenger for our first round of playoffs. Let's do it. Were you early or was I late? It is
it's hard
an
to know with
age-old question.
It's hard to know with the fan chants.
True.
The musical cue is a bit iffy as we do have Sponge.
You're off sick. You're off sick. Yeah, you're off sync. Literally unwatchable.
True.
Understandable, Linana. I would turn us off too.
Rock, paper, scissors for who gets fired.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Wait, we both actually
scissors.
just did scissors when we said scissors.
Okay, again, we're very simple people.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors. Okay. Rock, paper, scissors. Oh, I papered.
He said scissors, but he
then I
actually
papered.
papered, and I rocked because I thought he was gonna scissors.
You're fine. Why are you in sync now? I would love to say that the doo-doos were a bit, but they're not. We just
that was a disaster.
It's hard because we hear the fan chants.
Yeah.
So then getting the timing right is tough.
I mean, I got it right, but
I got it right. But yeah.
At least I did Yep Rock. You know, I managed to do the thing that KT was supposed to do. You know?
Would have been so good.
Oh, and you Scissor, you did exactly what they did instead of what they should have done.
Oh my god.
Oh,
crazy.
Amazing. Well, having a look at the mid lane matchup, the Azir into Syndra. It has been quite some time. Perfect and Frog up here just laning away. This isn't like a hard counter or anything like that, but you are, of course, going to outscale as the Gwen. And should be more of a threat in side lanes as the game goes on. You, of course, obviously do way more damage as well. And if you do get ahead, the Cassante never plays again.
Yeah, Cassante obviously relies a lot on the fact that he has an incredible amount of CC, great setup, and a lot of innate tankiness that he then scales off of offensively. And if you are a Gwen, then you don't care about tank stats at all because you have your passive, which allows you to deal true damage on your middle of your snip. So definitely something that is tough to deal with. Also, the AP scalings on her ultimate are completely ridiculous. Another reason of why she's very successful as
Pleta. Yeah, that is a lot of damage onto Pleta. He's still burning, and Hype manages to get the reset. That is first blood in the 2v2. Doctarm and Pleta having a rough one. It's also going to be Satab sent back home here quite early. Can you hear it? Can you hear the dulcet tones of those silver scrapes in your ears, Chronicler?
The level 2 Tristana power spike?
And it's a tale as old as time, is it not?
Yeah, and I don't even have an excuse for Pleta and Doctarm because they should know because they're some of the most experienced players and challengers.
Yeah, and also, yeah, there's just no excuse never not to know that. Ask anyone. And so we're going to see it one more time. Pleta just having the explosive charge popped. That means that the reset on the rocket jump does come in. Just all too easy for KT. Kind of unforgivable, that kind of a mistake, and we'll see whether DRX can bounce back towards the bottom side. Get themselves back into it. Double teleports back into this mid lane. Initially having a look, I was a little bit worried for Satab losing out on a trade because I didn't know Feisty had also teleported, but he has, and so therefore relatively even. It's perfect immune for the moment.
And this is already feeling reminiscent of game number 1, where it was actually KT that got a very sizable early game lead, as we did saw. Then DRX was able to get back with a couple of great fights, as well as that full snip hits. You might be in a little bit more trouble than you were there, Frog, but ended up going okay. You could be in some serious hole here, because the composition from DRX is a 2-threat composition, and that's fine if you're even, but if you're 2 threats far substantially behind, you don't get to play the game. A Satab!
Yeah, Wade's just going to dive in. There it is. He shifts some sand. Satab should be all right, but does have to use the flash. Feisty holds on to his. That means that there is going to be considerably less threat on the Syndra in the mid lane.
That is disaster avert. If he dies there, the game becomes excruciatingly hard to play. Now, that does mean that Hype is going to have to give up control of the wave here and will deny a sizable amount of experience, but same for mid. So, gonna all work out in the end. As Hype is just jumping onto Doctarm.
Yeah.
They're winning because Wade's also here.
He is going to be able to turn back up again. There's the crash down onto Pleta, who still doesn't have flash, of course. Doctarm's still trying to fire back here, and so at least the trade isn't too horrible, but you can see that KT playing with the utmost confidence here towards the bottom side.
And if Sponge doesn't start impacting your lanes sometime soon, or they don't get a good setup around the fight, things are looking tough. Like the KT composition, if you're ahead and you can just go in on any target because you have the item lead and you just blow them up, there is not a whole lot of counterplay. Bot lane Prio leading into the first Drake. As an individual Drake, this one is kind of whatever. It's just a Chemtech Drake, so not going to be the end of the world, but KT coming out swinging here in game number 4.
Looking absolutely amazing. Now I can understand why you chose Scissors. You know, I chose Rock thinking that Rock was the right call.
I mean,
Turns
I
out
didn't.
the Scissors are kind of working here in the top lane as well.
I chose Paper.
Oh, right, but you did say Scissors.
I did say Scissors because that's the name of the game.
I played
Rock, Paper, Scissors.
I played Rock, Paper, Rock, unfortunately.
You did.
I should have included the Scissors because I needed them to beat your Paper.
You did.
Disaster.
Hey, hindsight's 20/20.
It is. Well, some people's hindsight is 2020. Mine is suffering. It's not going to be a Cloud Soul this game, which is a little bit unfortunate. I'm gonna have to accept whatever else it is. Some power is being unleashed here, some force of will from Feisty to do a bit of damage towards Satab, building up those splinters as best he can. Level 7 now for the Syndra, having a great time in this lane so far. As you can see, about a 2-wave advantage for Feisty, or closer to 1. I take it all back.
Get me an Infernal. Get me a real dragon.
Yeah. Well,
there's no cloud,
a real
so
dragon's coming up soon.
Yeah, but you know what?
Yeah.
I want the next best thing. I know you feel very strong.
This is not the best Drake rotation Lunana Bunny stacks. That is what? How dare you? Don't you say things like that in my chat. I'm allowed to say it in other people's chats, not in my chat. Satab, 50% health. Does have to be pretty careful because there is a certain threshold that you get to where an R button murders you. And you just have a bad time. Sponge,
double roam.
Struggling right now, as you can see. Humbug moving on up. We've got the steadfast presence there for Sponge. This is dangerous for KT. As, yeah, the double roam coming through, but everyone having to go back as these minion waves do start to crash towards some turrets. Still about 1,000 gold the lead as there's the Emperor's Divide. The flash comes out from Feisty. It would have been a really nice dredge line as Satab's in trouble. They're trying to get on top of him, but they don't manage to close the gap. But still, that's Satab having to go home. It should mean that the Rift Herald goes over to KT.
Yeah, Satab doesn't have a teleport available. Feisty also had to flash, but the top lane also not in the best of spots here. And we'll see if Sponge is able to go for the steal the way that Humbug did a couple of games ago.
Yep, Pleta getting on in here.
He has his ultimate.
Yeah, Sponge going somewhat aggressive, throwing his buckler around, getting some stuff done as perfect. Snip, snip. And that is going to be the Rift Herald secured by Humbug. Very nicely done here by KT. Not a massive advantage, but because Satab was sent home again, Feisty moves to close to a 20 CS lead in this mid lane. It's exactly where you want to be as a Syndra in this matchup. Well, I mean, 30 would be even better. Or maybe a 50 CS lead would be better. But you know what I mean.
As big of a number as you can imagine.
Yeah.
You'll be feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
The early game from KT, again, really impressive here. I do think that the DRX have been able to stem the bleeding. Was a bit worried when the bot lane was already going boom very early on. Same for mid, but Satab has just been able to stay alive ever so slightly in a lot of these plays.
I think if he had have died, it would be eulogy time.
It would be Silver Scrape. Well, it's Challenger, so we never really know. Satab.
The Caster Curse is pretty powerful here. Satab is going to have his Shifting Sands blocked and will therefore die. Humbug going to turn into the Pigeon Man himself and put down the Rift Herald. And that is going to be KT getting so many plates here in this mid lane. Satab had flash as well, or it only just came back off cooldown.
Yeah, I think it was just barely not up. And the real tragedy there is he tried to shuffle and Humbug flashed. So just really nicely executed there.
Yeah.
5 steals so hitting, and now 2k gold deficit. Second Drake going to be spawning in about a minute. And KT coming back alive in this series. It is his Feisty that sets it up. He tries to sidestep. That's a unfortunate hitbox there for Satab as Humbug gets the ult in and flashes in front to make sure that the E does not come through. DRX 2k gold behind. Now, this composition skills well, but if you fall too far behind, and Satab and Dokkan are not going to have the items to actually deal. Like, look at what Satab has. He has mid treads.
Yeah, no, he's
That's
not.
it.
He is not doing anything, not in this game. Scat of the Week does come through, and it's named effectively, unfortunately, against this Azir. He is not having a great time. Humbug clearing out his bottom side jungle. You can see does have Wei just hanging out, making sure that everything is tickety-boo. And 11 minutes on the clock. 8 seconds before we get to our first Cloud Drake of the game. And Satab will be able to get some mid-control here, by at least clearing out the minions. Force of Will not going to be avoided, but doesn't get stunned up by the scatter. And therefore, he will be A-OK. Doctarm in position. They do have a nice little ward here to spot Hype moving on over as a fight does break out. Wei going to be lit on fire very early on in this exchange. I'm not going to be too worried about it, though.
That's a lot of damage from Doctarm going down on Hype.
Yeah, and this Drake already taking a lot of damage as well. Way down to 50%, and there's the Poppycopter. That is going to guarantee that this Drake is secured. Now, the flash does come forward. Steadfast presence is good, but the Magnet Storm is still going to be there. Way taking so much from the passive of Doctarm as the gameplay button is pressed, and Sponge is going to go down, but Feisty is also dead. It's a double for Doctarm as Hype is trying to fight it out. The Buster Shot is decent, but it's a triple now. Make it a Quadra, and Doctarm! I guess everyone could see the future when they voted for MVP.
We didn't know. But the rest of challengers did, as well, that kind of shifts how I look at this game, Atlas.
Yeah, I think there might have been many at home watching along, and they could have visibly cringed.
I really want to give some credit here to Sponge. I think that his setup here actually really nicely done, right? Cancels the crash down here, so Doctarm is completely fine. And then Pleta, Sponge, and Satap have one job. Let's keep Doctarm alive. And even though a lot of the damage goes down into Sponge, he ends up going down. There is no initial reset, right? They don't actually get to start possessing, to start this Viego to go off, to give Hype the opportunity to start a Goomba stomping people. And instead, Kai'Sa's unchecked, unmatched. Doctarm goes back, buys a Codex and a Blasting Wand. And he's going to be so accelerated. And I gotta say, Kai'Sa, when she gets ahead, we've seen teams get a lot better at dealing with her, but when she gets fed, it does kind of tilt the whole concept of it.
Games a little bit.
She does.
I would say that that's probably an effective way of explaining it.
And Gwen's still there, you know. It's KT still have a gold lead. It's not over just because of this.
Mid laners and junglers doing a bit of battle here as there's an Emperor's Divide. Great Heartbreaker to come out as the gameplay is not going to be enough.
Merc Treads, baby.
Yeah, that's why you build the Merc Treads. Satap going to survive. This turret also still on its last legs, but it's hanging in there. Nice work, Mr. Turret.
Also, looks like a crown, which I think for Satap, big thumbs up. Actual unironical crown value is huge here. And now for KT it becomes a question of how well can you play to the side of the map that Doctarm is not. And that becomes increasingly harder as we get to level 11 for the Kai'Sa, when the range in your ultimate really becomes kind of obnoxious. Because really at level 1 it doesn't provide you with that much ability. And then you look at DRX and you realize that every single player on the team can proc Plasma.
Yeah, the setup for Doctarm isn't too bad this game, isn't it?
Good, yeah.
That's kind of all right. There's also the fact that, like, Kai'Sa thrives in chaos and crazy fights, and Poppy provides that kind of beautifully with her ultimate. So Keeper's Verdict, we're going to have to keep our eye on them. As
no Satap here.
Started off the Rift Herald. Yeah, there's no Satap or Perfect. Emperor's Divide not quite there either, as there's a death. Oh my goodness, Hype just explodes. Doctarm going to get knocked away, but it doesn't matter. There's no Tristana there, and Wei is also burning. KT kind of falling apart. The flash from Pleta. I mean, he took game 3 pretty personally by the looks.
Pleta seeking redemption for the fact that he kind of botched the level 2 comes on in.
I think he was just making sure that he could get enough accolades, you know? Get him fed so you look cooler when you take him down.
Yeah. Yeah, Doctarm very fed.
Doctarm was at Worlds last year.
Really well done here by Pleta. And I want to make very clear, Doctarm did not get sent down initially because of him getting benched. He was sent down because of an injury that he was dealing with.
Yeah, initially, yeah.
And then obviously they play with Paddock, and I think that once the team started working with Paddock, it makes sense to keep him there. It's Pleta 1v9. Like, really well done there. Gets the Hex Flash. Kind of unforgivable there for Hype to die with Flash Up, unfortunately.
True.
Gets caught completely off guard. And then, yeah, the follow-up fight, obviously going to be extremely easy for DRX to play out.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's necessarily a good or bad thing that Doctarm is playing in a challenger roster, because of course Pleta was a great AD carry in his own right. I don't know whether it matters that much. I think being able to utilize a different AD carry so that you can have Pleta play support and be really, really good I think that's also important. Opens him up to do some shot calling as well, which, if that is what he's been doing, a lot of DRX's plays in the later game have been pretty good. Is KT going to move on over? It is XX Soul.
I mean, it was always Pleta and June that were credited, like, as a unit for how good DRX was last year. And they didn't end up winning Spring, but they were still, for a large amount of time in the split, by an incredible amount of distance the best team, to the point where some co-streaming it might have said that they would easily, like, beat LEC teams without too much of a hitch. Which I felt bad at the time, but then seeing Peach make LEC finals, I felt better about it again.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Yeah, Peach didn't look too bad. Neither of any of the players we have sent overseas, as the first Hextech Drake is going to be taken here by DRX, who have really taken control back in this game. It's not really reflected in the gold, but you can feel it as there is a hook. Oh dear, Gwen, I do not believe, is very immune.
Level 11. It's not fair.
It is not fair at all. Not a lot of being able to play the game is happening here for KT right now.
It is time for us to look in the mirror and ask ourselves, Atlas.
Yeah.
Are we cringe?
Well, I mean, can you be cringe if you predicted it?
Or are you based for being right?
Yeah.
I think Feisty might be in some
Or is
trouble.
it more
Does a
cringe
flash?
to
Does it
predict being cringe? Okay, that is a flash from Sponge. He just wants to kill him.
He's dead.
He's going to find the Keeper's Verdict. That is a very dead Feisty. And Humbug, he actually wants to fight this. I don't know about that. All Out does come through from the Cassante. Finds the Q3 as well. Humbug just explodes. Oh my goodness, no way out is perfect. Oh dear, the snips are beginning. Is he going to be able to kill Doctom? The answer is, oh, maybe. Does manage to pick it up. Another Q comes through, and if Gwen gets fed, that could be a way back in.
Colossal shutdown. They're going
Ignore
over.
this.
Yeah, so the goal is still positive. Like, the trade's positive for DRX. I don't think that just the fact that we see... Oh, the TP. Is he going to actually come through?
Well, Pleta is over the wall. He's standing on a control ward. Frog is here.
Okay, well, so back to Gwen. Perfect picking up a lot of gold is obviously really big. We also see the Void Staff second come through, which I'm not a fan of.
Ooh, that always makes you feel a bit
Yeah,
bad.
it's like just for the 1v1, no one else has it knocked them out at this point. Sponge, really cleanly played out, but he does use a lot. And then the real issue for DRX is to try to over-invest here. We see them go in, try and actually kill Humbug, who is a Viego with... eventually will go down, but then Perfect comes in, gets a ton of value from the snips. Needles up until the last, not necessarily the greatest, but then Doctom does end up going down, even though he is able to stay alive for a little longer than be enough. The shutdown.
950, my
yeah,
God.
That's a lot of gold onto Gwen. But is Gwen alone enough to win you the game? No. But now it's going to become kind of a fun back and forth between who can carry harder, Doctom or Perfect.
And then if Perfect actually manages to play well in teamfights, then it's Hype that's going to be the benefactor of them as well.
Ooh,
so
yeah.
being able to spread the wealth here just a little bit, we know that Satab was not in the last fight, so wasn't able to benefit quite as much. So see what flow-on effects will occur. DRX still retain that approximate 1,000 gold lead, very similar to what KT had in the early stages of this game. But with Gwen getting fed, that is always a dangerous prospect.
We'll see. Doctom is going for the Ginsu's build here. A lot of it will also come down to, can DRX get the Drakes? Because if you get Hextech with Azir and Kai'Sa, I do think you're going to be feeling pretty good. The amount of value you get from both the attack speed as well as Sponge. Ooh. He did, yeah, I don't know if he knew. He knew how up close that was.
Yeah, Perfect did make it home. If he had have stayed, maybe Sponge was just dead. So kind of good. Okay, KT getting some vision down. Perfect. Gonna pick up this side lane.
What's that blasting one gonna be? It's gonna be like
Nashes.
Morello's? I hope so.
Good.
A little.
I don't think you start with the blasting.
No,
one if
you
you're
would.
gonna build
They
the
would.
You
You go orb, but okay. It's fine. It's gonna be Nash. It's
You'll
okay.
be fine.
It'll be okay.
I
It'll be okay. I
promise
don't
you.
have to be worried. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just scared. You know, I've been hurt a lot.
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand. This is, this is Korea. We do like our orbs of oblivion. but it's okay. It's not going to be happening this time.
Dogdom actually running with the futures market here on the Kai'Sa, kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's been seeing a lot of players on DRX just use that consistently, which I think is great. Very underrated rune. Doesn't mean that you have your free item spike now ready.
But it's okay. Hype has his 1.5 item spike.
What? Just not gonna...
That was a very serious look you just gave me.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna respond. I'm just gonna let that comment
No, but
sit.
that was the response. A very serious, a stern look.
Yeah, I don't think the joke was
I
that
was a little
great.
bit intimidated.
Well, I don't say that. Now I feel bad. Come on, Atlas. You know how I work. You can't do that to me.
Just saying, it was very stern. I'm not used to a very... I thought maybe I crossed the line.
Stern that's very hard with me. And also Stern Chronicler, are you kidding?
I know. I was very confused. I was like, who is this man? Who are these players? Where's Pyoshik? Is he coming to Worlds? Is it the DRX reunion?
Might.
Whoa. If he does come to Worlds, that
We have
means
a double
that
reunion.
we have the chance of having, like, this is assuming that Beryl makes it to Worlds, which is pretty likely. We could get the DRX reunion and the Griffin reunion at the same time.
Double reunion.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Having Doran, Tarzan, Kanavi, Chovy, Lehens, and Viper all back together again.
Which is pretty likeless. Atlas, I heard that. Yeah, no, this has been my life.
What do you mean?
Atlas is not going to let it rest until it is mathematically impossible for Beryl to make Worlds.
Yeah, that is the only time it's not likely is when it's impossible. Until it's impossible, it's likely.
It's happening.
Okay? That is how Beryl works.
So, Dogdom did go for the full AP build, which means that Frog will get a lot of value out of this Negatron Cloak, do quite like that. Weaker Foe was picked up, so perfect. Is not going for anything crazy. DRX picked up the Dragon as well. Hextech Soap is going to be possible in about 4 minutes. And I would like to see more MR for KT, because you are facing down a full AP composition.
That would be nice. Yeah, there's these gauntlets here are good for the slowing them down while they're trying to walk away situation, but all of the armor isn't all that valuable, apart from against Hype, who will be doing a fair bit of damage in these fights.
No,
perhaps you don't need MR because you just...
DRX are buying it. I want KT to buy it.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, there's actually 0 physical damage on DRX.
Yeah. Well, Cassante, but that doesn't really count.
Yeah, that's not really physical damage.
That's not real.
That's Cassante damage. That's Riot damage. I was going to say something else, but it's emotional damage as well if you're a Showmaker. That's all right.
Hey,
Dredgeline to get Pletter out of the area.
Cassante's release and Showmaker's current form, like, I don't want to say that they're connected, but...
It does feel somewhat like there could be a conspiracy theory.
Right?
And I don't think you need tinfoil in your headwear.
I mean, I have that there anyway, you know, just to protect my brainwaves.
I mean, that's a good idea. I think that's the way to do it.
We're just hanging out. Hanging out around the Baron, but not actually going to Baron. That's like a whole nother thing.
No. You don't start the Baron. You just need to spend time with Baron. Or maybe you just don't hit the Baron. Spend time with Baron. Because we like Baron. Maybe that's what it is.
I don't think we do. It's a Void monster.
I don't know. I was playing TFT today. I really liked my Baron.
There's Baron in TFT now?
Yeah. If you go 8 Void, you get a Baron.
That's cool.
It just hangs out in the middle of the
Can you get Shelly?
Yeah, you get if you have 6 Void, you get Shelly. And if you have 3 Void, you just have a little Void Remora.
How do you get... I saw you had Scuttles as well.
Oh, that's if you take Scuttle Puddle.
So I think this is just gone. Yeah, this is just.
I'm not a Void abuser. If I like
82 health.
Yeah, that is just.
Well, that's just gone.
Baron. Yeah. Goodbye.
So that lines up perfectly as well. KT,
I'm not a cringe Void abuser. I'm a play. I play Earth every game, and I just choose a different thingy. If I just get the Void Emblem, I'm gonna play it, right?
Elo, don't trash the
And I always lose. I always lose when I play Void. Void's terrible.
I mean, what do you say, Atlas? Do we?
What?
I don't know. I don't like the... I'm not going to ban Dana for calling you a cringe Void abuser. No, just like people complaining about the elo of these players. Like, you see the players in this.
No one spend this 50. Ward is too expensive. What?
I don't know. Too cringe? Yeah, Sci-Fi Misk notes what's up.
I actually think, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I think it's like, I just don't want to deal with it, you know? Oh, but I don't have Aw, man.
You
My
can't
laptop
do it.
fell asleep.
No, it's okay.
Feels
It's
bad.
Fine. It's fine. It's
Mo
fine.
Big Toe, can you just say something so I can ban you? That'd be really cool. I can't be bothered typing your name out. So just type something weird, and then I'll ban you. Oh, there he is. Wow. Damn. You ask and you shall receive. I'm kind of tempted not to now. You know?
Talking about their bet!
Oh.
Get him out of here!
All right. Okay, that's a perma. Easy. All right. Damn.
Oh, Feisty's dead!
Oh, God.
He's dead!
The purple lady victory goes to Kai'Sa, as it turns out.
Who could have known?
Oh, dear. Syndra, she was the OG. But Kai'Sa was the better one, and she was the member of KDA as well. Why wasn't Syndra invited to KDA, by the way? Why didn't that happen?
She's way too serious, man. She doesn't want to be in a pop band.
Wait, she could have, like, we could have done, like, an Evanescence-style band, though. Maybe that's an idea. Maybe I could talk to, like, someone on Riot.
We should have that.
Syndra
I don't know.
Evanescence?
I don't know why there isn't an emo band. You can have, like, a
I mean, we've got Pentakill as well, right?
Yeah, but they're not emo, they're metal.
I know, right? But that's what
okay,
I'm saying. It's
so,
like the other genres.
So, Vex,
Oh,
Aphelios,
Viego.
Viego.
Deadway. That is a flash
Nice
forward
fight.
from Frog. Okay. Oh, the Empress Divide does a
scoop.
little bit, but not that
Wait.
much. Hype is going to get the Zhonya's out of Satab as, oh dear, the ulti does come forward. Scatter, not quite there as Humbug is looking for Satab, who shifts the sands to get himself out of the way. And Doctarm says, don't follow us, I have Void Seekers.
So, back to the things that really matter.
Viego's already in
So,
Pentakill.
so, Vex, Syndra, Aphelios. That's the
Oh.
core.
Oh my.
A Mumu on bass.
100% of him on bass. Or on drums.
No. Drummers are too popular. He has to be a bass player. I'm sorry, but that's the rules.
Okay, yeah,
No one cares about bass players.
Yeah,
That's just. It's got to be. So.
Could it be Goth Annie on drums?
Come
on, 'cause that's got like,
No, that's good. I like that.
What's the movie with the
You just banned the best analyst we had in the stream. How do you feel?
Wait, what do you mean?
Because we banned the better.
Oh, the best analyst. Yeah, true. T1 Chronicler, you get it.
On point.
As all right, Sponge is going to be interrupted.
Going in. Wait, he's dead.
He is very, very dead. Perfect is going to be able to pick that one up. Now there's some needle work as we'll get some knockups, but and a dead Pleta. It's Challenger's baby and all that sort of stuff. DRX, do you need more than a Hextech Soul?
They have soul.
Yeah, they had Baron as well. That is now gone. But they've also taken two inhibitors.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the game is over, but
They're doing
this is not inspiring me for DRX's ability to win in round number 2. That is what I'm saying.
Oh, indubitably, old chap. It's truly remarkable.
If you bring out an accent like this in me, then you
That's
know that you have
bad.
crossed the line.
You cannot do it.
Not
Unacceptable.
It's unacceptable indeed. Perhaps what DRX were banking on was the fact that KT would value their Nexus turrets.
Well, they still have them.
They do.
This cost is a fever dream. This is nothing compared to what Challengers has sometimes devolved into.
I don't know. Mr. Better really kind of threw me through a loop. I just love that I asked him to say something and then he just goes and says it.
He actually extra. Oh, you have to do it as well for the the extra. Breaking
read all
news.
about it. Yeah, all that stuff.
The DRX making their way over into the KT base.
I kind of like it. It's like a dog race, you know, like.
Oh, truly exceptional gameplay coming through here. Perfect in the mid lane. Looking to push up.
That's no more. No.
No?
I'll lose my job. It's too good. As Humbug's dead.
Is it too good to be bad, or is it too bad to be good?
Both. At the same
Love
time. It's a conundrum. I think it's absolutely fantastic. 6,000 gold, the lead. Hextech, Soul, 2 inhibitors, and DRX are playing with their food. They are toying with KT. But Perfect is Gwen. Feisty has a gameplay button, and Hype is Tristana. Doctor has a W.
Jay Bjork, you can have Morgana. Of course Morgana's in. Of course Morgana needs to be in.
Yes.
Thank you, Jay.
And that's also
Keeping
great
us
because
accountable.
Kale is in Pentakill.
It just works
Oh, it
on
just
so
works.
many levels.
Can it be called My Chemical Rift? Can we call it
My
something
Chemical Rift, man?
Yeah. There needs...
Instead of Evanescence is Transcendence.
Or Evanescence Shroud.
Really getting the important conversation out of the way. There's triple in it. KT, you can't contest
My
this.
Chemtech Rift is actually pretty good. Wait, that's also really sad as well because it's Chemtech and it's just sad.
You can't contest. I'm sorry.
Well, they can. They just might die while they do it. As Wei is okay. They do manage to get the ult out of Sponge.
Look at the base.
Humbug is possibly able to get a steal. Hype is going to rocket jump for some reason. Humbug gets into the pit, but he's still going to die. Empress Divide lands onto 2. They catch them out of the air as Sponge is going to eat him up. That is going to be Hype getting a kill, but then immediately he will be punished. That is the ace, and that will be the end of this game and the end of the series as DRX will mow down KT. At least KT were able to show us one game where they were able to get it together. It was not quite enough to start the reverse sweep. And DRX, they get back that side selection and they take them down.
Can I interest you into a Duckdown vote?
A Docker's vote could come through quite clutch here, my
I feel
old
like
boy.
I'm going for transatlantic announcer, and you're going for Alfred.
I'm just like, yeah.
You're
man.
Alfreding.
I'm.
And I want to give we'll talk about D Plus in a little bit, or DRX rather in a little bit, because they are of course going on. For KT, I think it is an unfortunate ending to their split, particularly because after yesterday the hype might have been a little bit up there, and it doesn't live up to their spring. But I'm still impressed. This roster I did not have high expectations of coming into this year. Like Feisty was very middling on Breon. It was a roster of a lot of different players, right? They rotated a lot of them throughout the year as well, and then still picking up 5th place. It's not bad.
No, I actually think, and it's also a bit unfortunate that they have to face off against DRX in this
With
round of playoffs
Dokdam.
as well. With Dokdam, but also like the fact that Nongshim pushes DRX down into this first round, like that is rough. That is very rough. Just because DRX, I think, should have been a 2nd place team here in Challenger.
It's really, really interesting. The placement for the top 3 teams is actually, I think it's insanely close. The fact that you have DRX in 4th.
Yeah.
4th. This team is 4th.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's kind of crazy to think about. And I think that D Plus will be the team to beat, even if they have looked worse in recent times. I think that when we casted the match against DRX specifically, like, that was... I hope we get a rematch of that, because D Plus DRX has been just incredible every single time. But there are so many cool storylines, right? DRX, they haven't won challengers, even though they were the best team for basically the entirety of spring.
It
only
feels
to
like
then
it's
get
been
dethroned.
2 years of them being the ones that have to watch the others get the cool wins.
Yeah.
Whilst being the expected.
It was,
they're like Iceland from the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, it was in last year spring. It was D Plus with not a miracle run, but definitely unexpectedly solid performance.
Yeah.
And then in summer, obviously, it was the team that we all know and love, the Nongshim Noodle Boys.
And Normal Life Esports that also really stepped up their performance as well. After, like, we saw glimpses of what made the team good in spring. But here in summer,
absolutely.
really finding themselves.
No, I'm talking about like last year, right? I'm
we're
baffled.
still all the way back there.
I'm still baffled at the fact that Nongshim is good this year when their full roster was called up, and they just have like 4 new players from Academy plus Vital that are good.
Yeah,
it's wild, but you know, Dokdam, he was a little bit of a problem in this one.
He was also a little bit necessary for DRX, managing to save it there. There were some pleader votes, including U2.
Based.
Actually based.
Giga based.
I think he did a little bit more feeding than I was comfortable with for
just
the vote.
in lane, yeah, but I think the pick on the Tristana.
Yeah.
And some of the later engages, I could see it.
Yeah, it's just a little bit up and down. I think Dokdam was mainly just up
I'm
in this
with you.
game. And if he doesn't get the quadra kill in that dragon fight, then they lose. And we are playing Silver Scrapes. That's how that one goes.
Thank you for holding me accountable. Ox isn't here, but he's still pranking us. What's Dokdam doing in challenge? He was sent down after having some injuries. And then Paddock worked out with the main team, and then he has stayed here to get back to form.
They actually did tryouts within the team. They even called up their academy player, and within DRX, they came to the conclusion that Dokdam was the challenger AD carry, and it was actually Paddock that was better.
And as far as I know, he was also still dealing with it at the beginning of summer. Like right now, we don't really know. We haven't talked to him in a while because we don't have access to the. Well, you have access, but we don't speak Korean, so we can't help you with that one. For the challengers interviews. And Plata, I wonder if that was also part of the reason why Plata was happy to go back to support. The fact that he wasn't able to get called up, because you would think that the challenger AD carry rather gets called up as opposed to the academy one.
It's a bit greedy, isn't it? Honestly, that DRX, like, they had 2 really good AD carries and then they called up another one
from academy.
Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
Are you kidding?
It's wild.
It's not very fair. And he has been good. Like Paddock, I don't think anyone's really been too upset with.
No, Yeo was definitely not LCK ready, as we saw after the first couple of games. But seeing what Paddock has been able to do in the recent weeks has been very impressive, particularly with the coming alive.
I'm really looking forward to what he's going to be able to do at Worlds once he gets there as well. Like it's like, because he's so young, you know, coming up from academy and then has to be on the world stage. Thankfully, it's in Korea this time around.
Barrel's not making Worlds, Atlas.
What do you mean? Like I said, likely until impossible. That is the only way it can be. And this isn't like, I'm not memeing. Like, it's just the only way that you can predict Beryl. It's the only way. It's likely until impossible. And right now, it's pretty likely.
So
that's all I'm saying.
If this is your first challengers, you might not know what's happening. There's an interview, but we don't have a translator because we're low-key like that. It's the casters and chat community corner. You get to talk to us. That's it. You get to ask questions. Atlas gets to bully me, and you guys can actually see it. And you guys can actually see it, which I know is a large part of the fun for him, so I assume it's enjoyable for you guys as well.
My God, how dare you say things like that? I'm just saying that I'm looking forward to seeing Paddock at Worlds. Like, Chronicler, like, seriously.
What happens every day when we get into Law Park is Atlas just... What's the seat-stealing thing? It's just Atlas knows that for our synergy to work, I need to be like 10% tilted. So I came into work.
It's like Earth, you know, it's off access by a bit, you know?
I was first, right, to the LCK because I can't be late. It's a thing that I struggle with because it makes me really anxious. So I'm on time.
I'm the opposite. I'm anxious if I'm on time.
Yeah, and I sit down, you know, and I go and grab my drink, I get my makeup, my hair done, and I come back and like Atlas is like, why you stole my seat? I'm like, but I was here first. No, I was here first. That's my seat. I was just like, wait, what? And then the other guys also joined in. I was like, wait, did I? And I
what about when you
started...
stole my laptop seat?
Yeah, he's like, oh, that's the seat for my tablet. And for a second, I was like, wait, are you for real? And I'm like, huh? And he was like, no, I'm serious. And I believed him. Why do I believe you?
I kept it up for like 7 minutes as well. I really committed to that one.
You were really committed. And then, I mean, obviously, as soon as I'm like, wait, are you ready? He's like, no. And then I'm like, no, he wasn't. You should have known.
The first time you went, are you serious? Then I just did the blank stare and went off and made a coffee. And I knew that one was going to burn a hole right through. So I really shouldn't have. That was a Rudy Patootie.
Why do you believe?
Why do you believe it?
Because I want to believe. I want to believe in that people are genuine, and it's very easy to make use of that fact. And I have like free friendships as well that are based off solely that. Actually, it works out very nicely.
You just you know, sometimes you know what you like, and that's what Chronicle likes. It just likes being bullied.
I don't have a choice. I've just grown to like it because it's happening anyway.
He thrives off self-loathing or something. Not entirely sure.
It is a rebroadcast from 2025. Yeah.
We're just reminiscing of old times back in 2023.
Oh, back in my day.
Yes, it was a beautiful time, was it not?
Oh, you and me casting together in the LCK.
Was I almost trying to do a Sean Connery accent?
I have no idea what you were doing, man. It was all over the place.
Do you know what? I demand a day off tomorrow. I'm going to take a day off tomorrow. I'm going to watch some LCK.
Nice.
And I am going to go for a walk in the evening, see some friends.
Friends.
Yeah.
You're gonna eat some nice food.
Eat some nice food, maybe drink a nice glass of wine, and then go back to work for forever after that. That's what I'm planning on doing. But it's going to be a good recharge
Also,
day.
Laura's back.
She is.
So there'll be a little bit more free time.
A little bit more leeway.
Yeah.
Indeed. Might be able to potentially jump on a stream when a certain character may get released.
Is this a character that
coincides
with the name of a very famous author who wrote a book about a bug?
Kafka? Yes.
Nice.
What's the book about a bug?
Metamorphosis. It's a book about a guy, and it turns into a bug, and it's really... He just turns
so like
into
Animorphs?
No, he turns into a 2-meter tall bug, and he just lays in bed and
I'm sure there's an Animorphs guy that turns into a bug.
It's like a very...
Is that book like the episode with the bug transform Animorphs guy? Anybody else like read Animorphs as a kid? That series was dope. My favorite character was Tobias. I really liked Tobias. He turned into a hawk. He got trapped as a hawk for a while.
Never watched Animorphs. It sounds cool. It sounds great.
It was.
Yeah,
it was great, but also
bad. I'm not huge on Kafka, but he has some cool books. Left a large mark.
Would you say
on the evils of bureaucracy and like the kind of surrealism of our day-to-day world?
Does he have like an electric writing style? Like, is it a bit shocking?
I don't think it relates to the Honkai character.
Would you say that it does damage over time to you as you read the book, like maybe mentally?
You could argue that. Sure, that works.
Right. I'm feeling it.
Yeah,
I'm going to say that it's fine. Oh, LCK Global 2024, nailing it. I think we all had a collection of Animorphs books. Even if we didn't necessarily read them, our parents just bought them for us because they were on like the book list that you could bring home from school.
Book list
the Scholastic book list, you know.
I'm
actually quite interested in what this metamorphosis thing is.
It's just a book. It's not fake. You can read it in a day or two.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm a very slow reader because I read everything as if I'm speaking.
That is not. Yeah, that won't. Okay.
I actually read books to myself.
It'll take a while. You do have a great voice, so I think that makes sense.
So if you ever want an audiobook, basically I could just enjoy reading the book and record it. And that would be an audiobook.
Record
I could actually do
your
that.
brain waves?
No, like literally.
Oh, you actually read it for yourself.
So I could. If
you talk to yourself.
I don't have to actually say the words, but I read it at the speed of speaking. Because the thing that I like about reading the most is the shape of a sentence. I don't care about the information. I care about how a sentence is constructed.
It might.
That's why I couldn't stand Tale of Ice and Fire.
Yeah,
because I hate his writing.
Yeah, it might not surprise you, but I read very quickly, and I am a glutton for information.
Yep.
Interesting how that works.
You guys should do an audio-related content. Yeah, I think that's what we should look at. Yeah, perhaps a podcast.
Maybe a podcast that was recorded.
We should release one tomorrow.
Maybe release it tomorrow. Talk about playoffs. Talk about All-Pro.
I think that's a good idea.
Maybe we could do that. Could we record it at the LCK?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Would someone get Comic Sensed maybe in that episode, and we don't know who? We have no idea. We're not going to give any.
No, but they couldn't do that right after I get perfect predictions for day one of Challenger playoffs, right?
I don't think they could. That would never happen.
No.
There is absolutely zero way that anyone gets Comic Sensed.
No.
No, there's no way.
Maybe that could be my next career path, though. Maybe I could just be audiobook reader. Would you buy an audiobook that's read by Atlas?
Yeah.
Maybe that could
I'm 100% genuine, and I'm sure many people would.
Would anyone else buy one? Let me know.
Yeah, chat, of course. If everyone types yes.
Right, there we go. Laura's there.
It's
Sci-fi
just
miscellaneous.
Yeses or ones. That's what's going to happen. That's the reality of the situation. Except Kevin Kim, and he's just being edgy. Is it Jover? It is Brover. It's KT Rover. It was a free 1 for DRX, and it was a free 0 for Humble Life today.
It was Not
Wombats
necessarily super expected.
Master Race. Is that the band or the animal?
I don't understand. I'd pay for Atlas to read The Prince. I don't know The Prince. What's The Prince, Denunciator?
I don't know.
Is that a story about a
Like
North
Machiavelli?
American team that didn't quite do as well? I want you to read Ice and Fire. For me.
Machiavelli,
No, I
okay,
didn't
yeah.
like it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Machiavelli, okay. I don't know whether I'd be able to read French
All of you
that well,
are sheep.
but
I
I
have
could
the
give
courage.
it a give it a crack.
I had the courage to say no to dictatorship. Kevin Kim is a free thinker. All you other people are sheeple.
Oh no!
Disgusting. Just listening to your overlord AIs in a wide room in a computer.
Yeah,
Unacceptable.
it's actually a green room because we're uploading for Faker. We need a green screen in order to upload everything to Faker. This is all the energy. Trying to heal his hand as best as possible.
Beep boop.
Do you want to do a bit of a spoilers discussion for the Pog State a little bit and talk about who you think's going to win some playoffs games?
Sure.
Because we had some discussions before, like
It was fun.
on the playoffs.
I think the only one that was really contentious though was D plus T1.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that was. I think that's also like that should be contentious because
It
I
should.
think that no one should really know how.
No
that's
one
gonna
has
go.
no one should know how that goes.
Apart from the guy that I banned forever in the chat. I'm sure his money knows where that goes, how that one's going to go.
Yeah.
He's going to be very sad afterwards.
It's DRX. Yeah, it's definitely DRX over. It's definitely Drover. Let me tell you that.
Rover.
It's and even Atlas won't make the jokes, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about World's Gauntlet. I'm like, I could actually see a world in which it happens. Playoffs, no, zero.
Yeah,
Zero
for that
chance.
particular matchup, that should be just Hummer Life wiping the floor with them.
Completely booming them.
Unless, Beryl just like messages Zekker and Kingin, and like tilts them with like some inside information that he knows. He says something like, I heard your favorite plant is dying and you haven't watered it today, and they're already on their way and they can't actually water their plant, and that's all they're distracted about the entire day.
I hope I never face you in any form of competition. That is
I mean, it's insidious, isn't it? But
It
Beryl
is.
might just go to those lengths
It's
in order to win.
nefarious.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh,
So,
scary.
but the thing is, like, this is the problem that I have. I think that if Beryl wants to win, he can win. But that's only if he wants to. And most of the
I think
time
you're
he
giving
doesn't.
him too much credit. I just
Nah.
think that in a large part of the year, he just isn't good, and he doesn't put in any effort,
Yeah,
and
true.
he's just not good, and he
That's because
doesn't.
he doesn't need to win. So why would he try? He's still going to Worlds. He's sixth place again. Easy peasy.
He made playoffs because Sandbox had to face off against like two good T1s. DRX played against two Poby T1s, which they both won as well. And they
But I mean-
got in by the grace of like beating Kwangdong at the end.
I mean,
But what you're
KT
sa-
put in their whole
So-
challenger roster and they still won.
So-
Like
so-
there was no even.
So what
There
you're
was no hope there.
so what you're saying is Beryl just calculated upfront the least amount of effort he'd have to.
Basically, he was me in my final year of high school.
It's actually me for the entirety of university as well.
Mhm.
That's
See
not
what
true.
I'm saying?
I put in a little bit more effort towards the end, but the first 2 years were not good. As it turns out, playing 8 hours of StarCraft a day, I did. Doesn't really line up well with.
You did at least have additional pylons.
I got Masters, and then I played against my friend who was high Masters, and I never beat him in like 30 TVTs. And I was like, no, this is not my game. Took me like
TVT's not fun
I-
either. I've watched
I
enough
hate
Artosis streams to know that.
TVZ is to this day
I'm a Zerg.
my favorite matchup in anything. Like
TVZ?
TVZ
Yeah.
is
That's a law matchup too. That's
at-
dope.
TVZ is just I love that matchup so much. There was so much going on.
How terrible was StarCraft when it was PvP the whole time? It was just
what's
Protosses,
the
and they
word?
were like, "How many Colossus do they have?"
Chronicler pretending he doesn't have a good degree. I'm not pretending I don't have a good degree. I'm sharing that I didn't put in that much effort during my bachelor's because I don't like a lot of the topics that were taught.
The only reason I
It's
say it's a
tough.
law matchup is because it's the first step
Yeah.
of the campaign.
No, it works.
in
It works.
StarCraft 1. Yeah, I was
So-
a cannon rusher as well in a 6 I was terrible. I was just the
look
worst.
at you.
I was basically parting, but not very good. These are today's results. Harmalife Esports with the 3-0, and then DRX. We wince a little bit looking at this. I'm not going to use the C word, but we wince a little bit as the 3-1 does come in. KT unable to bring us to that final game. But I think DRX well deserved.
Yeah, because even in the fourth game or in the third game, rather they lost, we still saw that they were able to cling on for way longer than was.
Cling on, another language you can speak, Chronicle?
I do not speak Klingon.
Really?
I also only speak 2 languages with a little bit of
Francais.
Just
you can do a bit of that.
Just a bit. That doesn't count though.
If I said Poly-Vu Francais, you'd be able to say a thing, wouldn't you?
Oh, that is. I'm
it
not French.
That made me. I winced after saying that. I'm sorry, everyone. I shouldn't have said that live on air. I feel like that was too much, even for the 2 people in this room.
Chat is devolving into fighting about StarCraft matchups. Very proud of you. That's exactly what should be happening.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Expectation here is that D+ will. You know what? Will they pick DRX? I think they'll pick Hanwha. I think this is one of the rare occasions where you don't pick the highest seed. DRX came so close to beating you.
That's true. I think maybe it could be more about DK's performance.
Right? Like, I could actually see them pick. Also with Dokdam, I feel like this team is better than their placement.
And D+ knows a fair bit about Dokdam. They were at the World Championship with him last year.
Yeah. We don't know. We'll find out soon what the matchups will be. That also doesn't matter what the matchups. It's going to be a really, really good rest of the playoffs because all 4 of these teams I could realistically see win the split.
No, absolutely.
Like 100%.
Actually, I can't like every iteration of these 4 teams. Like each matchup is absolutely dope. So I think we're winning. Pretty much we're just winning. It's amazing, and we saw already that like the level of like performance available from these teams is sometimes equivalent to that of an LCK team, because Feisty and the gang booped Live Sandbox yesterday, and then just came down to get eliminated from playoffs.
They get boomed. And of course, yeah. I do think the circumstances, as we both talked about yesterday as well.
A few asterisks, yeah.
And I don't think any of us would say, even the best challengers team would like come into the LCK and start bopping people. We saw like a lot of them actually took a lot of time. When you go back to like Dom1, took them 2 years to really get to the form that we knew they were capable of. Griffin was a little bit faster. Griffin was like within their first.
I think they had an undefeated round robin in their very first season. Yes.
But obviously Griffin now consists of like a bunch of players that are on the best teams in the world and a bunch of world champions and whatnot.
Congratulations for your graduation.
Congrats. That's so cool. But what is, without a shadow of a doubt at this point, guaranteed is if you're a really good player in Challengers and you get put in a good environment in the LCK, you can perform really, really well. And it just makes me excited to see where these players will go.
Yeah. And now it is time. You can say it in chat if you would like to. I think you know what time it is. Unfortunately, we're going to have to say goodnight. We're going to have to stop comment, but we appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with us as we experienced the first 2 teams to be promoted to round 2 of the playoffs here in Challenger. Of course, tomorrow we're going to have the LCK playoffs kicking off, and we will see you there. Hopefully there's going to be some Pog State. Before that, the content is raining down if you'd like to see it. But for now, we'll have to say goodnight. Goodbye.